What is up, everyone? Thank you so much for joining us. Justin Parnell, joined with my partner in crime, David McDarby.
Hey, Justin, how's it going?
It is going great. You know why?
I have an idea why, but please fill me in.
That's because we're at CubeCon. Today is day one of the greatest 4 days in cubing.
That's undisputed. That is the truth.
That is. We have over 50 cubes here. We have 50 cubes for just our main event feature for the weekend. But we have probably another 50 here in the room of people cubing today.
At least there's cubing happening all right, and behind you all right here. It's just a celebration of Cube, and I'm so happy to be here with all these people and you.
It's other people I'm very appreciative what we have here is NRG, who is helping us produce this stream, obviously using their channel, and please support them because we would not be here being able to provide you this excellent coverage for the best format in all of Magic without their partnership. And I'm just so thrilled that we get to do this. Is our second year for CubeCon, and we have a robust amount of cubes that we're going to be covering on the weekend.
Yes, this is year two. Last year was wonderful, amazing. We are about doubled in size of both cubes and attendees, and excitement, fun, and awesome cube action. And it's so awesome to celebrate Cube here with all these people.
Absolutely. And so what we're going to do is today is kind of our day one, and we're going to be covering a lot of just fun stuff. We have a ton of special guests, content creators, professional Magic players, some Hall of Famers that are going to be here, I know. And then we're going to be covering today with two of our exhibition events. And going into Friday and Saturday is when our main event will start. So each day we're going to be covering 3 unique cubes with a different commentary team on each. And we have 6 great commentators. David and myself are just 2. And you'll see us again, but there's going to be a cornucopia of people.
Yeah, lots of great other people will bring the cube action to you. So Friday and Saturday, 3 cubes each with teams leading into a top 64 cut and a top 8 cut where we'll be playing the vintage cube for top 8.
That's right.
With all the power you can shake some number 9 at.
Yeah, so the most drafted cube in the entire world, the Magic Online Vintage Cube, will be the one that decides our winner. And you know what? Our previous winner right here, I can actually see him, Caleb Durward, is going to try to defend his crown. And let me tell you, he knows that it's going to be a lot tougher this year.
Yes, so Caleb D. MTG is the reigning champion of CubeCon.
He is.
But that's for 2022. We're in 2023, and the heat has been turned up. There are more people here looking for that crown, for that cube crown. Now, again, this is CubeCon. We're not here as a tournament style of like high stakes, cutthroat, let's play to win. We're here to celebrate Cube and have a good time.
That's right. And you know, that's the great thing about CubeCon is the event that we have here is celebrating every single kind of cube you can do. The most casual cube and the most casual of prizes, which we'll get to in just a moment.
We will.
And the most competitive because obviously there are people like Caleb that want to show that they are the best in the world at this Magic format, that we all love so much.
Yes, we are here in Madison, Wisconsin, at GameholeCon.
GameholeCon.
And we'll be bringing you so much awesome cube action. I love playing Cube, by the way. Players can make their own environment and make the kind of Magic they want to play and share it with their friends and make lifelong friends through Cube. You, in fact, introduced Cube to me.
I did.
I learned it from you, from the best.
10 or 11 years ago.
Yeah, I'll say 11 or 12, right when I started. And to see Cube grow and blossom from what it was back then to bringing 400 and some people to this event is just amazing.
Incredible.
I love it.
And the energy here, and I've been to a lot of Magic events, as I'm sure a lot of viewers have, and I truly do not know another event where people are so excited to be here and to just play in Cube. And the thing that we're doing today, though, right now, is we're going to be cubing, surprise. But we're going to be doing a special cube, and it's a cube that you created. The Live the Dream cube that has been on Magic Online several times.
Yes.
So this is a familiar one to our drafters, but I'm fortunate that I get the designer of the cube in the booth with me.
Yeah, well, I'm fortunate you let me in the booth.
Yeah. You're the expert here, buddy.
Yeah, so the Live the Dream Cube will be starting off in this tournament. This tournament is dubbed the Cheese Stands Alone Tournament.
Yes.
So we'll get to what they're playing for in a moment, but let's give you a rundown on what the Live the Dream Cube is all about.
Please.
So it is a 540 card cube, singleton, legacy vintage legal, all black bordered cards, no acorns here. So about run-of-the-mill cube things. Like, there aren't any special rules. A lot of cubes have that. Those are awesome ways to experience cube. This doesn't have that. What this does have is designed to emulate a sort of commander-like experience. So you're playing lots of colors, lots of mana ramp, getting lots of mana on the board, and then you cast crazy spells. You cast Fiery Emancipation, Aminatu's Augury, all kinds of crazy big Mnemonic Deluge. These are some cards that you may not see in like the Vintage Cube or a lot of other cubes because they cost, 8, 9 mana.
Crazy.
But here in the Live the Dream Cube, it's not just a dream, it's a reality.
That's right. You have to live the dream. The way to win the cube is to live that dream. And we have 8 players that are ready to do battle in the Live the Dream Cube, but they're not playing for something that is traditional.
No, not really.
I would say this is the most unique prize that we have ever seen in all of Magic.
It's definitely the prize that I would like to win the most.
And the prize, the reason this is the cheese stands alone is because we're in the cheese capital of the world in Wisconsin.
That's correct.
So we felt that the most appropriate thing to do is to provide a crazy amount of cheese to the winner. That's right. The winner of this draft will get a nice laser-cut charcuterie board with an unhealthy amount of cheese that we have told them under no circumstance they could not eat alone in one sitting.
That's correct. It will not be great. Yeah. So once we get to the game, we'll be showing some of the cheese, some of the mounds of cheese. There are multiple mounds of cheese available. We will show about 1.5 mounds.
Right.
Yeah, and then bring that to you and show what the players are playing for us. You can live your dream at home, seeing what you would do if you were following along the draft at home, which we're about to do.
And we do. And we have 8 players in this draft, including strategists who you might know from playing Magic Online, a common trophy leader.
Yes.
We have Jarvis Yu, we have Drake Sasser, we have Sky Warfield, we have Jamie Topples, we have Reed Duke, we have Bob Marr, and we have Zach Hill, who is going to be our featured drafter for this first draft of CubeCon. And I think we are ready to get started in that draft and see what Zach is going to cook up in this Live the Dream Cube. All right, looks like our drafters are ready. Yep. Zach, who has, I would say, drafted this cube maybe the most of everyone who is in this.
Yep.
In this pod.
I believe that's true. We drafted it a month ago at MagicCon Las Vegas. Yes. We did play. I will not say who won between him and I when we played, but let's check out the pack here. So we have 45 cards to draft, 15 cards in a pack, and we've got Divine Intervention. Yeah.
Oh, man. We're gonna see it. We're gonna see if we can get the camera readjusted so we can see what Zach is working with in this pack, and we'll let Zach know.
Or maybe Zach can just bring his cards down a bit
to slow it down. We'll get it worked out.
Yeah, we'll figure it out. But we've got Itali, the new Itali, a Karoo Ashen Rider. It looks like
that's a General Ferris Rockrick.
The General Maelstrom Pulse. Invasion of Olara. Now that's a very iconic card for this cube. And
Golos.
Tireless Pilgrim.
Saw that at the end there.
Yes.
Golos is, in my opinion, one of my favorite cards to draft in the entire cube. You know why? Because it's good every single time.
Every single time.
Every single deck. But Zach, looking to aim low on a mana value 1 card with a Delighted Halfling?
Yes. So this cube really rewards players for advancing their mana and getting lots more mana on the board. Signets are good. 1 mana green creatures are amazing, and especially if the spells can't be countered. There aren't a lot of counter spells, but... So now Zach's looking for a green deck. Now you're starting off with a Delighted Halfling, so you can really be as many colors as you'd like. He's eyeing this Jin Cataxius from Mom. Jin Cataxius.
March of the Machines.
March of the Machines.
Jin Cataxius, no last name.
No last name. He's like Cher, or Strategist.
Right. 1
name only. So we have Skitterbeam Battalion. Again, this cube likes expensive spells, but if you can cast them less, it's even better.
Now, one you might have missed was an Asika's Chariot, which, let me tell you, that's a powerful card. But now, Zach is pulling my personal favorite card in this pack to the front, which is a Theomancer. Now, I don't think that's probably what Zach's going to take. I would be surprised if he doesn't pull this Asika's Chariot to the front. There we go.
Asika's Chariot is good. Elvish Mystic is just doubling down on his 1 mana creature to advance your mana state. All the colors do really cool, awesome things in this cube. Green has the power of 1 mana creatures.
Yeah, that's very powerful.
Yeah. The most powerful word in this cube is add, and Zach is adding that card to his deck, which adds mana.
Wow, and he's done that twice now.
He has done it twice.
Zach, I think it's fair to say, might have the lowest mana value average of all of the cubers that have drafted so far.
I would say that's accurate. It's really hard to get less than that unless you take 2 lands, which is also a defensible strategy.
Yes.
Yep, so Zach is pulling Mawloc to the top. It is a red-green X creature that fights a creature and gets bigger with X. Pretty good card from the Warhammer 40K set.
Absolutely love it. One of my favorite cube cards in the number of great cube cards in that set.
Yep.
Now, Zach has not dipped his toes into a second color. And traditionally in this cube, in my experience, you often end up in 3-color decks as on average. Would you say that's right?
Yeah, a common thing to do for picks 1 and 2 is a Triome or another 3-colored land for turn 1, and then a Signet or a 2-mana ramp artifact on turn 2. Zach is taking 2 one-drop creatures.
Zach's eyebrows raised when he read that last one. All right, he's taking Mawloc, which that's the pick for me to have those 2 land warriors.
Yep,
too.
so it's a red-green threat that's scalable depending on when you want to cast on the curve, and it's removal.
And it draws you a card if you go big enough.
And it exiles the creature that it fights.
Wow.
Yeah, it really does everything. Sometimes you can cast it for 2 mana on turn 2, fight a 1-powered creature, and you're living your dream right there. So we have Biophagus, another green mana creature from 40K.
That's a good combination with Mawloc because it adds a counter when you cast a creature with its mana.
It does, yes. We have Luca Bound to Ruin, sort of a red-green Garrick Wildspeaker that can sometimes also act as removal. So it looks like Zach is looking at red-green cards in this cube. Red-green is large creatures, but also some ways to cheat them into play to get them out early, either through a way you just cast them for free or just cast them above the curve. And here he's looking for Biophagus versus Stomping Ground.
Yeah, I'm going with the Biophagus. I'm sticking with the green, and this is a pretty powerful. This is a pretty powerful creature to go along with his other mana creatures, and this is a good combo with Mawloc too.
Yeah, so Biophagus is a 1/3 for 2, as you can see there on the screen. But when you cast a creature with that mana, it gets a little bigger. So maybe you have a creature that cares about its power. It's going to come and play with additional power, and there are about 5 or 6 cards to live that dream of making it more than its base power.
Love it. Okay. Now, we don't have a clear green pick in this pack, so this is going to be something where we're going to see a deviation from all of the green cards that have been drafted, pretty much no matter what.
Yep. So a lot of times, a traditional cube philosophy is you choose 2 colors, go down that path, maybe you splash a third. In the Live the Dream cube, we kind of throw that out the window. We defenestrate it, and maybe he'll go black with defenestrate, not in this cube, but he can go additional colors than just green and red and be completely fine and rewarded. For example, here's Rakdos Carnarium. If he wants to be Jund, I'm sure Reed Duke drafted on the opposite side of the table. That is a very common thing for opposite people on the table be drafted in the same color combination.
Right. And one of the cards that's in the pack that is often a thorn in my side is Elish Norn, the mommy of machines.
Yes, the mother. She's a Panharmonicon, some call her lovingly. But she also stops your opponents from their panharmoniconing.
Yeah, I use a different name, but I can't say it right now.
Well, that's because you're talking about Magic right now with thousands of people watching. But Elish Norn is a single white pip, and it's a very powerful card.
It is very powerful. I think when we were drafting with this, and we go with the Carnarium, which is exactly as you said, saying green, 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 2 colors that are not green.
Yeah, sure. Well,
pretty standard.
Also, Karus, or bounce lands, whatever you would like to call them, imagine a land that entered the battlefield tapped and then said, draw next turn, draw a basic land. They're amazing.
And it's great because there's not too much land destruction in this cube, so they're much safer than they might normally be in cubes you would find.
Yeah, so you don't have to worry about, is Wasteland or Strip Mine coming for my double land? No, that's not really dream living. That's kind of nightmare living, and that's not what we do here.
Maybe we have different dreams.
Perhaps. Well, Zach dreams of removal, it looks looking like, and he's pulling Dismember to the top. He has a 1-mana spell and an 8-mana spell he's deciding between.
Standard. This is a pretty common just choice in the Live the Dream cube.
It is. It is way easier to get out a creature, especially an artifact creature, quicker than others, but Dismember is a 1-mana removal spell, and that's really hard to come by in this environment.
Yeah, it's definitely a premium removal spell, as it scales incredibly well because oftentimes, and now we're not seeing this based on Zach's deck, but oftentimes a curve will start at 2 rather than 1, which is pretty unique to this cube among most cubes here at CubeCon.
Yep, Zach does go with the Dismember. In this cube, attacking is second focus behind doing big splashy things, so the loss of life is a minimal drawback for cards like Dismember, when the opponent isn't quite coming out of the gate quite as fast.
Now we have that Fire Emancipation, something you called out earlier, and that is a certified game ender. I don't know if Zach is ready for a red pipped card yet.
Yeah, but he might be. So Fire Emancipation is one of my favorite cards ever made. All your threats, everything you do is triple damage. That's if you ever played a Street Fighter and you're fighting and you get down to low health and the music speeds up to 2 times as fast. That's what Fire Emancipation does when it hits the battlefield.
Now, what about Shark Typhoon? Shark Typhoon would be the 4th color that Zach would draft, which again, not all that uncommon. I find in this cube, I am often in 3 colors and then drafting a 4th.
Yes, you're not all that punished for drafting 4 colors, but Zach takes Calidus Assassin. So that is a 6-mana blue and black card that's basically a clone, but also destroys the creature it's cloning.
Right, and that's Zach's 3rd Warhammer 40K card he has drafted, which I got to say, one of the best designed sets for Cube in a long time, especially considering the amount of cards that are in that set contextually compared to a regular set.
Yeah, so with the 40K expansion, we had a lot of free reign from Games Workshop to just make cool cards that were flavorful. And we didn't have to really care about the biodome specifically. We can work outside of that, so there's a lot of open-ended cards that they can work with all kinds of cubes, and cube was a big focus, let's just say, when working on that set.
Yeah, I knew I had you on the inside, make sure we were taken care of.
Yeah, don't worry, I
side.
got you, fam.
Thanks, buddy.
Yeah.
So Zach has dipped in to technically, no, we haven't seen a red card yet.
We have Moloch.
We have seen a red card. So we have seen 4 colors, a solid four different colors of cards. Which,
Yes.
Again, nothing too crazy, honestly. Zach's only picked up 1 land. There will be more coming inevitably. But what are we looking at for here? What would you want to find if you were Zach? Are you going to be looking for some triomes?
Triomes are great. He's got 2 green, 1 mana value creatures. Some more of those are great. Birds of Paradise. You're familiar with that card?
I am.
I believe it's from limited edition Alpha in 1993.
That's correct.
Yes. It's a single green, and it adds 1 of any color. That's the kind of card I'm looking for, number 1 here.
It's older than several people at CubeCon.
I would say, yes. And more and more people fall under that distinction every year.
One of my favorite cards in the entire cube is in this pack, which is Kaya. But we are going to see. You're going to have to help me out on that one.
What Master of the Wild Hunt?
That was Master of the Wild Hunt?
It was. It was a secret lair release.
See, now okay.
Yep. So Master of the Wild Hunt, one of the early on mythic rares that was very popular. This is not only creates threats, but also removal.
This was a cube staple for many years after its release in Magic 2010.
That's correct. So in this cube, most of the cards have dreams to live. So you do a cool thing. A lot of them you kind of see on the tin what the dream is. A lot of removal spells don't have dreams to live. You cast Lightning Bolt, that creature is dead. Terror, that creature is dead. So a lot of the removal spells come with threats. So they're a planeswalker, or they do other things as well as just destroy a creature. So like Master of the Wild Hunt makes wolves. It works with Doubling Season, Anointed Procession, cards like that. But also can be interaction and removal, and that's a dream to live.
Yeah, so your dream would be attack your opponent's creatures with a large pack of wolves.
Yes.
Okay.
Awoo. So
as it were.
So Zach has his original pack back. So this is pick number 9. Eyeing that Evasion of Alara, probably one of the most representative cards of the cube. In fact, the Cube Cobra image, fine sponsor here at CubeCon, Cube Cobra, Gwyndecker here, the designer of it. The image is the backside of Invasion of Alara. That's how iconic it is for this cube.
I love it. It's and you know what? That one is the one I opened in my pre-release.
Aminatu's Augury.
Not the Aminatu's Augury, the
Okay.
Invasion of Alara.
Well, and how did you do with that pre-release?
So we're talking about Cube here.
Cube!
And we really want to. So Zach has pulled a blue 8-drop to the front, which I believe he's probably just simply reading the text of this card, as this is not one. This may be the only cube in this event that has Aminatu's Augury in it. I personally love Invasion of Alara, but we've talked about that card, and that's one of the cards that makes me want to go into 5 colors. It scales incredibly well. It goes big. It goes small.
Yep. You're a big fan of Awakening the Maelstrom.
I love it.
Yeah, love it.
The way the Maelstrom's so sleepy, and you just got to shake it to wake it up.
Wake up. Wisely this charge up on the table.
Now, I would not be surprised. We again see the most expensive and the least expensive cards, the 2 choice. I would be surprised if Zach didn't pick the Goblin Crater Maker because he loves the low mana value, and that's something that is a very high value to him. But here we are. Well, that's why he's down there and I'm up here.
You got to dream a little bigger, darling.
I do.
Yeah.
I do.
So Zach,
I wasn't big enough.
So Zach took Aminatu's Augury. It is an 8-mana sorcery where you cast every type of card in the game for free. So now that he has that, he's kind of looking to diversify his threats. He wants some enchantments, some artifacts, some planeswalkers.
He wants a Skitter Beam.
In fact, he took Skitterbeam Battalion, which is not only a creature but also an artifact, so he can hit off of that Aminatu's Augury.
And not only an artifact, it's 3 artifacts.
It's 3 artifacts. So Skitterbeam Battalion is another good representative card of the cube. It's 9 mana on the tin, but you can cast it for 5 if that's what you want to do.
If you don't want to live the dream, you want to just you know, kind of just hang around. But the dream is casting this for 9, let's be honest.
So now, so you don't necessarily want to hard cast it. Maybe you can with Mirari's Wake, but you want to look for cards that cast cards without paying their mana cost, which we have basically everyone in the game that you can shake a cube at in this cube.
Right, because Skitterbeam Talzian doesn't say if you cast it from your hand, just if you cast it.
That's correct.
Oh, we have a very late Shipwreck Marsh. I've got it.
Yep.
Shipwreck Marsh, which
you had it.
I love the cycle of land. That cycle of lands, especially in this cube, because the cost of them coming into play tapped in the first 2 turns is almost
It
non-existent.
doesn't really matter. You're actually not casting a lot on turn 1 in this cube, which is like kind of whoa. That's like antithetical to a lot of cube traditional heuristics. You want to be on the board on turn 1, but in this cube you don't really do that a lot outside of Zach's deck with the green 1 mana creature. So. And when you're entering the battlefield tapped on turn 1, that's no biggie. You really want it to be untapped on turns 3 and up, which is exactly what they do.
And we have another
in fact,
8 mana blue card, but you know what? It does cast things without paying their mana cost.
Yeah, so does Ignite, the other card behind it. There are multiple cards in this pack that cast cards without paying their mana cost. And that one with the Multiverse is a great card to pair with Omniauch's Augury. Here we have Ignite the Future, which also can cast cards without paying the mana cost. So Zach is now deciding, does he want the 4-mana reasonable version with Flashback, or does he want the 8-mana mythic that once you have it in play, it's future sight, but, you know, this ain't your grandmother's future sight.
This 2022 future sight.
Yep.
Yeah. So we are, let's see. So we have, oh my gosh, this is a 7 pips Genesis Ultimatum. Another card casting things without paying their mana cost.
Right you are, Justin. This one is fully in Teamer, so he will have to be looking for additional lands and mana fixing to find those cards, but he's going with Extract Brain.
Yep.
This is a blue-black X sorcery that when you cast it, you get to look at the X cards in their hand and then cast one of those for free.
For free.
So it is a cast for free spell, but your opponent's dreams.
Should have let them draft the Skitterbeam Battalion, then you take it from them.
Yep, there it is. So you don't see this card a lot in cubes, but in this environment, it's at its strongest. And most fun, I'd say.
And it looks like the second to last pick was that Ignite. So Zach is ramping up both proverbially and literally in the mana value of the spells he's drafting. And we'll see if he wants to maybe adjust his plan from getting a low to the ground deck into something more representative of this cube.
Yep. So a lot of the cubes here, you know, they make you look at Magic the Gathering in their own different ways. So like you have to look at the context of cards differently. So in the Live the Dream cube, you know, you'll see these 8, 9 mana spells. You're never going to get that long in the game. That's too much mana.
That's crazy.
That's crazy. Who could ever do that? Well, in this environment, Zach has played it before, but getting his mana dorks online, his mana creatures online, and then seeing, oh yeah, this is the Live the Dream cube. You cast big spells all the time without paying their mana cost. I'm in. And it's kind of moving into that direction of the cube, which I love to see.
And the last bit of the pack, we have Inscription of Insight versus Part the What. I'll take the Inscription, something that you can cast for 4. You know what? We have a Fiery Emancipation, a card I love, and I would say we're not at a 0 for Zach to play that, even though it was a 15th pick.
Certainly not.
A lot of cube left to be had here.
You know what's a great spell to cast for free?
Every card he's drafted, but specifically.
Yeah, but I'm looking for Fiery Emancipation.
Yeah. That's a certified game ender.
Certified.
A sledgehammer.
A certified banger, as the kids call it.
It is a certified banger, yeah. So gearing up for Pack 2 as Zach reviews his picks, has a lot of low to the ground stuff, and he has 3 mana creatures. Three mana creatures that I imagine are still going to be a pretty important part of his game plan, regardless of the direction he takes his deck. Because, as you said, getting on the board and ramping your mana as quickly as you can is an excellent way to secure victory and live whatever dream you're trying to live. Because you know what? They all require mana in this cube.
They do.
Some way around.
A lot of cubes, you know, you might play 17 lands. Maybe you play less than 17 lands if you have Power 9 in your draft deck. But in this cube, you really want a lot of lands. Sometimes you play 18, even 19 lands. So here going forward, Zach's going to be looking for a lot more dual lands. So some triomes, maybe some ABU duels, and some ways to play his 4 different colors of cards he has. But, you know, in this cube, you'll see, maybe you see Underground Sea, but then you see, you know, Extract Brain. And you're like, I don't know which one to take, the awesome sweet card or the card that lets me cast it.
Right, and Zach's only taken 2 lands so far, that Rakdos Carnarium and the Shipwreck Marsh. So I would imagine picking up more lands, especially ones that produce green. Is going to be very, very high on his pick order.
Well, we've got Noble Hierarch, one of the 3 other remaining 1-drop creatures in the cube. Shaman of Forgotten Ways, that also adds mana starting on on curve 3. Windswept Heath is powerful.
Garrick Wildspeaker.
I believe that was Garrick Cursed Hunt, the 4-mana one.
Garrick Relentless?
Garrick Relentless.
The 4-mana one.
Yeah, the 4-mana, you know, that Garrick. There's only
it's
one.
only several.
Yeah, and Zach does take the Noble Heart. So this is another 1-mana creature. He's already going down that road. That's great to see. And this one adds 3 different colors.
Yeah, that's critical. That's gonna be very important.
I mean, it doesn't add red or black because Bant is a world where death and decay have no sway. And he does have this card in his deck, but you know, it's a work in progress. We'll get there.
You got to get there a little bit. You know what? The assassin. What is it called?
Calidus Assassin.
Calidus Assassin. You could still cast half of that card, half of the pips on that card with a Noble Hierarch. Oh,
yeah.
Uro, Titan of Nature's Wrath is a powerful card.
It is. So is Paradox Zone, which we're seeing here. Zach will be reading that one, as this one has a lot of words on it. What it does is pretty simple. Just makes a bunch of tokens, and they get bigger and bigger and bigger until your opponent just dies.
Yeah, fractionally bigger over time.
Yes, fractionally bigger.
Yes.
It's very magician of you.
Thank you.
So,
and Zach's still reading all of the text on that card.
Yeah, well, a good thing is it's an enchantment. So if he casts Aminato's Augury, he can hit an enchantment. Now we have Tireless Tracker. Probably knows that one. We're keep moving. Demir's Signet, Noble's Purse, a couple of 2-mana ramp spare. Here we have Aminato's Augury behind that, which Zach is waiting in the wings for. He's reading this Light Up the Night.
Alrund's Epiphany.
Alrund's Epiphany. He's reading Light Up the Night, which it's a fireball with flashback.
Yeah, I
so
like
it's
it.
not bad, but here
Great
we have
if you have Planeswalkers.
Ooh, take an extra turn. He likes that. I can already tell. Couple black cards. Giver of Runes, a rare white 1-drop, and Tundra. Looks like he's going with Tireless Tracker. This is a mid-range creature that kind of bridges the early and late game through the mid-game. Lets you draw his card, rewards you for playing 18 lands. This card you do see a lot of cubes, but like a lot of players' dreams are playing this on turn 3 with a mana creature, then playing a land, and you already feel on top of the world.
Well, he's got the mana creatures. He's got the Tireless Tracker. There's only one thing left to get.
Lands?
Lands.
Oh, great.
Now, they give them to you at the end of the draft, but I'd like to get them ahead of time.
That's true. You do get to add any number of basic lands, not waste, basic lands with types to your deck. We have those. We do have them here at CubeCon.
Thank goodness.
Thank goodness. But there are a lot of non-basic lands in this cube, such as Taiga.
And that's going to be it's going to be difficult for Zach to move away from that Taiga, as that is a critical thing. Now, it's really unfortunate for Zach that Taiga and Bayou are in the same pack, because he would snap pick either one of those for the pick here. I mean, he'll easily take this Taiga.
Yep.
It's just such a shame he's got to pass that Bayou to do it.
He also passed Sakura Tribe Elder, I believe, so other kinds of ramp/mana fixing cards.
Yeah.
I believe he still gets a card out of this pack when it comes back around, so we'll hope that there's a card for him coming back.
So Taiga was a huge pickup. As we know, he's going to be playing green for sure and red for sure.
That's correct.
And those are going to be meaningful portions of his deck, especially early with green. Taiga coming into play untapped on turn 1.
Yep. So Zach is still looking for lands. There was a Flooded Strand here. Maelstrom Wanderer, big Cascade, then Do It Again card. Grist the Hunger Tide, one of my favorite creatures, as long as it's not on the battlefield.
Maybe one of the best cube cards ever made.
Perhaps.
Yeah.
It's really strong.
Asika, which gives all of your legendary creatures tapped for one of any color.
That's true. There's also a backside of the card. Here we have Faeburrow Elder. That adds a lot of mana to your pool.
And we've shifted this Maelstrom Wanderer, this
to the top.
double Cascade 8-drop to the top. And we know that Zach is in red and green for sure and is happy to splash blue. I'm surprised he's not taking a longer look at this Flooded Strand, only because now there's nothing you can really get with it yet, but I know Zach is going to be looking to pick up some more lands.
Yep. Now, Zach is looking at Grist the Hunger Tide. He does have a lot of 1-mana creatures, and playing Grist on turn 2 is powerful magic.
And no matter the cube you were playing it in.
Yep, it creates threats. It is removal. It has a Dream to Live. He has an insect in the pack right there, right next to it.
He does.
Like all of Grist's friends are here, waiting to be drafted together. It is a shame they are together, Hornet Queen and Grist together in the same pack.
It is. And I love Grist. I mean, Grist would be my selection. I'm looking to draft this card if I think I might be in green and or black, which is basically most of the time.
Yep. That's not a bad... Plus, you can do some fun things with it being a creature in places so that you can see Grist on the screen. If you've played Modern, you probably see this card a lot of places. If you play Cube, you've probably seen this card a lot of places.
Mm-hmm. So, and again, going back to that past Bayou, which I know is just...
It's rough.
Going to be rough for Zach, but need to get that Taiga. Oh, we have one of your favorite cards in the cube. What is this? Doors of Durin.
Yep, that's a way to get that Skitter Beam Battalion in play earlier than predicted. So there's a lot of cool. There's Villainous Wealth in this pack, which is a Sultai X card that can say win the game. and that's always fun. Augur of
Ooh,
Autumn.
Augur of Autumn. I would imagine Augur of Autumn is going to get shuffled to the front here. That is a premium card for Zach Second, especially because in this cube, being able to find a creature with power less than Augur of Autumn to be able to activate that Coven ability to play creatures from the top of your deck as well as lands, that can be a big deal, and that's a card advantage engine if you can get it going early.
It is. So right now, Zach's doing a Doors of Durin check to seeing what creatures he has to put into play. He has Scare Me Battalion. Grist. Grist is one you can get in there, tapped and attacking, maybe just tapped. So that's really fun to see. So Zach's looking at, does he want to be responsible with like a Mishra's command removal and filtering, or do we want to dream big?
I know what you're rooting for here.
Well, I know what I'm rooting for, but I wanted to see what Zach's rooting for.
All right. I think Zach is going to go with the Doors, which I know is going to make you very happy.
I love Doors.
I'm surprised that Augur has stayed in the back of the pack, to be perfectly honest. We'll see if it gets shuffled to the front here.
Yep,
Ooh,
it is.
There we go. All
It
right,
is.
all right.
It's in consideration.
Thank you, Zach. Maybe you just heard me, and he's like, I'll do this up here for Parnell.
Yeah, he's got you. So he's looking at Maze Mind Tome right now. It's card advantage. It lets you bridge the gap. A lot of times in this cube, you want to, on turn 2, you kind of don't have a lot on turn 2. A lot of the cards cost, 7 in this cube. So sometimes on turn 2, you have some time to get to that stage of the game and just draw some cards.
This is the thinker. Mishra's command now being put to the front, and that's something that scales incredibly well. X spell with a single pip, so you can cast it X equals 1 or X equals 9. Who knows?
Ooh, who knows? Yep.
And this is tough. I would. Wow, he's taking the Mishra's command. I'm actually surprised at that. But
Me
you know
too.
what?
Me too. Mishra's Command is removal, and it does help bridge you. Maybe you have a lot of lands in your hand or a lot of spells and not a lot of lands. Mishra's Command can get you out.
It's going to be great at any point in the game, and Zach really needs to probably shore up that mid game. He's really taking care of the early game, really taking care of the late game.
Yep.
My absolute favorite Planeswalker in all of Magic, Duretti Spaghetti, a.k.a. the Spaghetti Man, Duretti Iconoclast Genius.
That's correct. So Duretti is another card similar to Grist, actually, in a lot of ways. They both make 1/1 creature tokens. They both are removal spells, and they both cost 3 mana, which is a strong place to be. In every cube, 3 mana is kind of where the real game begins, but in this cube, 3 mana is pretty early on, and you can get advantage there.
The game is afoot. Yeah, I would be slamming that Duretti. Good on you, Zach.
Yep.
Good on you, Zach. And wow, what a combination when you already have Grist. Those two go together.
Yep.
Chef's kiss.
Delving Season also works with all these Planeswalkers. The ones that make tokens, they make multiple tokens. They get bigger, but there's also a other card, Deep Forest Hermit, he's looking at right now, and Toski.
Toski?
Well, you can say it however you like. I'm going to say Toski.
All right.
Yeah.
I'll say Toski.
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 So that is my favorite squirrel in the game, other than Chameleon Colossus, obviously.
That's my least favorite squirrel.
Your least favorite squirrel? It looks like that's what he went with, was Toski.
Potentially.
Potentially.
We might get a shot. Zach, why don't you...
No.
Okay, all right.
No.
Sort it back down. We'll find out. We'll be sure next time. All right, Sling Gang Lieutenant. We have a Temple Garden. Oh, we have a Gruul Turf.
That's in the front.
That's a good one.
Rin and Seven.
Oh, that's a great Planeswalker.
Rin and 7 does everything you want in life.
Zach getting these sticky threats now in Pack 2, which is going to be a great benefit to his deck as really high-impact things to ramp into in the early game.
Yep.
But Zach, eating his vegetables, taking the Gruul Turf to make sure that he has plenty of things that make green and something else.
Yep. Yeah, Gruul Turf sounds is the correct pick here, I think, if you want to eat vegetables, as it were. Even though if you're Gruul, don't you want meat and eggs?
Yeah, the Borgamos certainly does, but you know what? He's not in the cube, so we won't tell him
Okay.
that the vegetables weren't eaten.
Yeah, I heard you recently, he's about to get married pretty soon. He's Borgamos engaged.
All right, let's see what Zach picked with this last one. Deep Forest Hermit. Okay.
Okay. This is a threat that can go pretty wide and puts a lot of power on the board for 5 mana.
Yes, not 9, in fact.
9 power. Very close to Skitterbeam Battalion, but it's less dreamy.
It depends on how much you like squirrels.
That's true.
And people like squirrels.
And they love vanishing counters.
They do. Mm-hmm. Yeah, they liked them so much they just came back in the Doctor Who Commander decks.
That's true. So here we have Sword of Forge and Frontier, the red-green sword. So Zach, maybe in consideration to just take that card so no one else has it.
And this is Zach's pack, and I think we're looking at this Garruk Relentless. And now Garruk Relentless, more exciting potentially now that you have 2 other Planeswalkers that are making creatures. But Zach is like, I've had a lot of success with these Warhammer cards. Might want to put this Warhammer card, Necron Deathmark, to the front of the pack. I'm personally a big fan of Nahiri's Warcrafting. We've talked about that card a lot. That card that hasn't caught on in cubes as much as I think it does. I would love for Zach to take it personally, just to prove me right. But you know,
So he's looking at between 3 removal spells here: a creature, a sorcery, and a planeswalker. It's kind of what flavor of removal would you like?
right. I mean, realistically, if I'm Zach, I think yeah, he goes with the Warcrafting. I like that. I'm actually surprised he didn't take the Garruk Relentless. I love Warcrafting. I think it's an excellent card.
Yeah.
It plays well when you're destroying something small. It plays well when you're destroying something big.
You draw a card.
You
draw a card.
Yeah, you take a look at several, and it can hit battles.
Battles, it can hit Invasion of Alara.
It sure can.
I can't wait. Hit your own battle. Transform it.
And Alrund's Epiphany, surprisingly still in the pack, as is Uro, Titan of Nature's Wrath. And Zach's like, come on, how am I supposed to pass up this Uro? But Willie?
He's looking at Noble's Purse, which is a 2-mana artifact, which adds mana, so you need a lot of those in this cube. He has a lot of adding, especially for 1 mana. Right now, Zach's looking at Paradox Zone. So this is you don't see this card a lot from Strixhaven Commander. It's an enchantment that costs 5, and basically you make a 2/2. The next turn, you make a 4/4. The next turn, you make an 8. You keep going.
Yeah.
You go up. It's great. And that's what Zach landed with, I believe.
He did. I feel like the card, it should cube every time instead of square, but, do
I like
can.
where we're not at a squared con, are we?
We're sure not. We're
Okay.
at CubeCon. All right. Zach, we have Golem Scheming Guide. Golem, very difficult, some would say impossible card to kill in combat.
Some might say.
Yeah.
Here, we've got a couple of Lord of the Rings cards. Grima, Saruman's, and then Malak Grim Manipulator. This is a Mardu legendary creature that's got a little sub-game attached to it.
Right. You each choose a creature to sacrifice, and then we see who has chosen what.
Yep. We'll find out. And also Karuga, and also Ral Zarek, another planeswalker that I'm a rather big fan of.
Right, yes. Karuga certainly not going to make companion in Zach's deck under any circumstance.
I would be surprised if it were, but it still is a 5-mana creature that draws cards.
Yeah, it does.
That's pretty good.
And you're gonna have a handful of 3 or more mana value cards, but we're gonna take the.
He's taking Malak. Malak is a Mardu creature that is a removal spell for your opponent's creatures, but maybe 2 creatures.
Yep. And we have Terra Sunder, just an excellent removal spell. Excellent that scales, for 2 mana. And we have Doors of
Jiren. Oh wow!
Now
that was a slam.
With authority, he almost took it last time.
Yep.
And decided against it. And the wheel is just, I mean, he was so thrilled with that. He's like shoved the pack off. He's like, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
This is what I've been waiting for the entire time.
Yep. So with Doors of Jiren in his deck, which it looks like he will emphatically play, he'll be wanting to look for a lot of large creatures to try to get in there. Also, creatures with haste are really good to trigger that Doors unexpectedly before your opponents can react.
Now, Doors says, it doesn't say cast, right? It says put it into play, tap and attacking.
Yes.
Okay. So I couldn't do anything tricky with this Valky God of Lies, if that was the case. But we have, we're going to take the removal spell in Primal Might, another scaling removal spell. And we have a 15th pick.
Doubling season.
Not out of the question that this could ultimately make his deck depending on what happens.
Certainly not. I don't think you've ever lived before you've cast Doubling Season and Paradox Zone together. So you were talking about you wanted them cubed.
Yeah.
We're not that far away. I'm not a mathematician. We need to get Jarvis Ewan here for this, but I believe it's similar to being cubed.
Jarvis is in this draft, so we'll find out. But we're on to pack 3 already. We have a Zaitor's Proving Ground, an Inferno Titan, a
Palantir of Orthanc.
Thank you.
You're welcome. This is a Lord of the Rings. It is one of the Lost Seeing Stones, some call them. It's a 3-mana artifact that basically lets you either draw a card every turn or deal, on average, 8 damage to your opponent. It's not bad.
No, because they're really going to be able to Staff of the Storyteller. There's Ravager. We're one of the few ways to destroy lands in this cube.
And only certain lands.
Cruel Ultimatum. Hidetsugu and Kairi.
Living that dream. That's a dream. Crystalline Crawler.
Ooh, that scales very well.
Another Savai Triumph behind it.
Wow.
That's how you know when you've cubed this much, we can identify a card with,
the
1 inch of art. Empowered Auto Generator. Some say that is Caleb Durward's favorite card in this cube, is Empowered Auto Generator.
That was a Kolaghan's command on the very back.
It was. This is
a
spicy one.
This is a Zach might just say, I'll take this whole pack. You guys can just finish this draft. But I don't have a agent of acquisitions here, so he's gonna have to pick one.
He's gonna play draft cubes like everybody else, 1 card at a time.
The thing is, I think Zach, when he opened on that Zaitor's Proving Ground, he had made his pick, and then he immediately saw the Inferno Titan afterwards. Inferno Titan, it's just such a powerful Titan, and such a powerful Titan to get in Zach's deck.
Yes, we have in this cube, there are 4 Titans in here. Can you name the Titan that's not in
Frost
here?
Titan.
You've got there.
Yeah.
Not very
I
dreamy.
love Frost Titan, but it doesn't fit here.
It is the Titan killer among the Titans. And Zach is deciding between basically a 6-mana threat or a land that taps for 3 different colors.
Well,
Really-
he's putting Staff of the Storyteller at the top. I don't think that's going to be the pick. Zach is really white's the only
Yeah.
color he's not been interested in and doesn't have any way to cast the spells so far.
So far, I mean, he's looking like a Glint Eye Nephilim deck. Very easy kind of communication to communicate. Everyone knows what you mean when you say Glint Eye Nephilim.
Of course, yeah. Well, I mean, he hasn't drafted too much blue, so he could be looking more Dune Brood.
Dune Brood?
He could be.
Okay. Saskia was in this cube, so he's eyeing Palantir because this is a new card. Not sure if Zach's played with it before. A lot of people haven't. It is only a few months old, and there's a lot of play to this card. Like you put an influence counter on it, then you scry 2, and then you reveal, then you mill cards equal to the influence counters on it, and the opponent loses life equal to the mana value of those cards. So there's a lot going on here, and it's kind of it's people used to call them Punisher mechanics that we've got on the screen for you. Your opponent gets the decision. Your opponent can choose A or B, and they'll always choose the one that's best for them, which means at the time, which is worse for you. Right. So you have to decide: do you want to play this big threat, this land, or this new Palantir of Orthanc card?
Yeah, Inferno Titan.
Inferno Titan is not only a removal spell, but it works with the Doors of Durin, which is great.
Yeah. Ooh, Hurl Through Hell. That's a great follow-up, excellent removal spell where you can exile the creature, and then if you're feeling fancy, you can play it. Your next turn.
I often feel fancy.
Yeah.
Here we have Unleash the Inferno. It is a Jund card that is a removal spell for a creature and a Naturalize.
And we're getting punished by the glare here. But
I saw Unleash the Multiverse there in the back, one of the strongest cards in the cube, I believe. It costs 7. That ain't nothing, though.
Yeah.
When you get 7, each player mills 10, you get 2 creatures.
Ain't no thing.
Ain't no thing.
That is definitely a good one. Mana Confluence, if Zach is really concerned about making sure he can cast all these colors, he's going to take the rat making
the Red Cap Gutter Dweller.
Red Cap Gutter Dweller, thank you. I knew several of the words, but not the order and not everything. But it does is a 3/3 menace, and it will put 2 rats onto the battlefield during your upkeep. You can sack it to play a card this turn. Oh, and we have a Death Cap Glade, which is can play untap if you have 2 other lands at least. We passed a Triome, which we know it was not Zaitor's Proving Ground.
Yes, it was a Xander's
Lounge.
Lounge. I was thinking Palace. He's got a lounge.
He's relaxed. He's relaxed.
He's big chill.
He's too chill.
Big fan of art. Chill MTG also in the house.
Yep. Oh, we have a Prismatic Vista, which I mean, if Zach's looking for fixing, this has got to be the one. Especially a little bonus because he's got that tireless tracker to take advantage of landfall.
Yep. So Zach's looking for big threats to get in there with Doors of Durin and mana fixing. But here we have an Escape the Wilds.
Love it.
Yep. We've got lots of things you can play. Meteor Golem there is a really good hit if you want to be Doors of During things. Listen, it's hard.
We're doing our best. Kadama's Reach is at the back of the pack. Is some fixing.
It is fixing.
But I think Zach is more interested in fixing and mana ramp that can attack to maybe activate some of those attacking related cards, or they're planeswalkers that can sacrifice creatures to destroy other creatures.
Yeah. So he's looking at Atsushi, the Blazing Sky. So Zach is really looking for large creatures that are also removal spells and card draw, so he can cheat them into play with Doors of Durin, but also let them do other things you might need in the game other than lands and creatures, like removal and card draw and the ramp.
Yeah, I mean, and one of the best rated cards from a creature perspective in the entire cube is a 4/4 flying trample for 4.
A 4/4/4/4.
A 4/4/4/4. Right.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And is Zach going to be tempted by the excellently rated beater, or is he going to go with something a little more versatile, like you find some prisoners, can destroy an artifact or play cards off of your opponent's deck?
That's true. You find some prisoners. Do you break through chains perhaps? But those prisoners will be locked up for a while, and he's taking Atsushi the Blazing Sky as a creature that's also mana ramp or card draw.
Right. And then we have Grief, which people are always excited to see in every single format, no matter what.
Yes. Well, this pack has about 8 black cards in it. So we're seeing
Sure
if
does.
he wants to go that direction or take something like Pernicious Deed, which is great with Planeswalkers.
It sure is. And Zach's an OG, so I know he loves that Pernicious Deed. But we have another big Planeswalker in a 7-mana Garruk.
Yeah, this is the Garruk Apex Predator. This is the Planeswalker that destroys other Planeswalkers. So if Zach wants to be the king of the Planeswalker nest, he might take that. So Freyalize, when she activated the Soul Bomb to destroy New Phyrexia, wasn't aware of other Planeswalkers at the time, so it can't kill Planeswalkers, which is also great with all the Planeswalkers in Zach's deck, like Grist or Doretti Spaghetti, as you so endearingly call him.
The Spaghetti Man. That's
The,
right.
the Spaghetti Man.
Yes.
Yeah, well, I think it's kind of more the cheese. Like, cheese is great on the spaghetti, right? So, like, we
It
want
is
some.
today.
Yeah, so we want some Parmesan to go with that cheese.
And Zach is looking to make people feel bad with grief.
Well, it is a card you can cast on turn 1.
It sure is. It sure is, at least once.
Yep.
We have a Sword of Fire and Ice, one of the original Cube staples for many years, along with Duplicate, another old school Cube staple, but something that is colorless and has a high impact on the board, especially in this Cube, as it is more likely to get something expensive rather than something that is cheap to maybe help you stabilize here.
Yep, so it will probably not be a 2/4 in this cube very long. It'll probably be a little bigger. This is, I have to say it like this, a braid. It's in all caps.
It's an all caps.
That's how it is.
Legally required.
And Zach, it looks like he's taking that. So he's looking to see, does he want the removal spell that costs 6 or the removal spell that costs 2?
And it's an instant.
Yeah.
And I think Zach's going to value that pretty highly. A braid has been the selection.
A braid, yes, that's correct. That one on the screen, the rules are correct, the words in the text box, but the name is a lowercase, not into that. So we're looking at other removal spells such as Lethal Shadow,
Lethal Scheming.
Lethal Scheming, Price of Fame, another 4-mana black removal spell.
Yeah, a lot of legendary creatures in this cube, and we see another one here, which is a card he's probably not going to take, but I've lost this card many times. So
That's true. Terror of the Peaks, a dragon, Collective Defiance, a removal spell. Just like, he's getting picks even this late. You love to see it.
you do. I mean, that is maybe the dream in itself.
Yep.
Get
So-
a couple of 15th picks are going to make my deck.
Yeah.
That's a dream.
Terror of the Peaks is a 5-mana creature that can be removal. So a lot of times in this cube, yeah. So he goes to Terror of the Peaks. Do you want a card with a high floor and a lower and a not as high ceiling such as Collective Defiance, or do you want a card with a decently high floor called Terror, but a hugely high ceiling if you untap with it?
Yeah, I want to get a card that's best friends with Skitterbeam.
Oh,
And Terror of the Peaks, they've gotten very close.
yeah, or Doors of Jern again.
Yeah.
So Zach's adding another dragon to his Draconic arsenal. I think he's got one other dragon, maybe 2.
I believe you.
I would believe me too. So taking a review, Terror of the Peaks is really good with Fire Emancipation if he chooses to employ that. You don't have to do any math. The opponent, you just
One other dragon.
One-
Just at sushi, but he's starting and he's got a taste for it now.
he's got a taste for dragons.
Ooh,
Selvala,
Selvala.
Heart of the Wilds. This is a green creature that not only adds mana but draws cards.
Could be the heart of Zach's deck.
And in this cube, adding mana and drawing cards are 2 of the best things to be doing.
And that's able to do both and scale incredibly well as you continue on the game. And that's an Orin Frostfang.
And a Vorinclex Monstrous Raider.
I love a Vorinclex.
Vorinclex is great because you can cheat it with Doors of Jern, or when you play Planeswalker with it in play, it doubles the counters that it arrives with.
Absolutely.
So you can immediately ultimate your Grist or your Doretti, I believe.
Right off the bat. Absolutely.
Yeah.
You can. And not only that, it's a 6-mana 6/6 with trample and haste.
Yes, and it says your opponent's sagas do not advance.
They do. They do not. But I like it because it's very good at killing your opponent, which ultimately, that's the final dream no matter
is.
what cube you're playing.
Vorinclex is also a good counter to Awaken the Maelstrom. A lot more battle counters there, baby.
Oh, Lord. I guess that's true. Selvala is something that Zach is really excited by. And we have a Sublime Epiphany. And Zach has really moved pretty solidly into Jund. Yeah, so we are going to take the Selvala. I think when we saw that, we felt like that was the correct pick. You know what? You got to be tempted every once in a while.
I believe I have cast Sublime Epiphany against Zach before. And so he's feeling those memories looking at that Sublime Epiphany. It was not great for him, I'll be honest.
It is not often good when someone gets Sublime Epiphany, when they're on the receiving end of that card.
Yeah. You choose the dream for that card is choosing all modes, all 5 modes.
Yeah, you got to get the full Epiphany is what we call that.
That's what we call that in the biz. You heard it here first. Here at
That's
CubeCon.
So Zach is settling into truly just a Jund deck. I don't believe we're going to be seeing any of the white or blue cards. We don't have much of the fixing. Maybe the assassin that cost blue and black. I think that we got a shot at that one, depending on if we see another blue touching land, because we have that Shipwreck Marsh from earlier.
Shipwreck Marsh. We have
Noble Hierarch. We
and
have
Prismatic Vista
and Biophagous. So
Yep.
there's a couple. But I think Zach is going to be squarely into Jund as the primary makeup as a deck. And yeah, we do see the assassin looking like, as Zach is sorting through his deck, not in the starting main deck end currently, but there's still some draft
to go.
to be done.
Yes.
Yes. We haven't seen. I believe we're on pick 6 or 7 of the third pack.
Yep.
So-
Zach also picked up a Terra Sunder in that pack.
Yes.
Terra Sunder is probably the best naturalized ever printed, in my humble opinion. It's either that or it's a 4-mana. Just exile anything you want.
Yeah.
Anything.
A naturalized that can turn into an utter end. Quite
Utter
powerful.
end.
Okay, so this all right. So this is pick 9, and the Proving Ground is back. Oh my god! And Zach, really, I mean, he spent he cannot believe Kolaghan's Command. Kolaghan's Command is, in my opinion, one of the best cards in most cubes.
Yeah, it's very strong. You just attach 2 cards together, a Raise Dead and a Shock. You just put those together with some diversity and stuff like that, and you got an amazing card. Here we have Unleash the Inferno, which are squarely in his color. So Unleash the Inferno is 4 mana. It deals 7 damage to a creature. And then you also get a destroy an artifact or enchantment with the mana value is equal to or less than the excess damage. So oftentimes,
if I deal 4 to something,
Yes.
I got 3 left over. I can destroy a mana rock for 3 potentially.
potentially. So that's not bad. He's also looking at Hurl Through Hell. Again, a removal spell, but instead of destroying another thing, you get to cast that creature.
So good. I love a Hurl Through Hell. Yeah, that's what I would be picking if I'm Zach. Just an excellent mid-range removal. Now he's going to the Vivian, perhaps the Mythos of Nethroi. Hurl Through Hell is where I would be at, and Zach agrees.
Yep. Hurl Through Hell is a great card to. It's not just removal, but also card draw, and you draw the card that you killed.
Yeah,
That's great.
It's Rakdos' answer to Fracture Identity.
Some say Fracture Identity is the Azorius Hurl Through Hell.
Some do.
Some do.
Me now, from now
Yeah,
on.
mhm.
And
Plus, it's an instant.
it is quite powerful. Quite powerful. And
So-
instance, always good. Exceptionally good here because you really can get people when they're going through their motions on their turn. A lot of sorceries and sorcery speed things in this.
That's true.
cube.
And you know the old saying, EOT, HTHYL.
That's-
That's just what they say. So here's Zach's looking at Necromantic Selection, which is a damnation, but again, you get a creature that you killed. Finale of Eternity, a removal spell that you get a creature that you killed, perhaps.
Bramble Sovereign. Ooh, Vraska Golgari Queen. That's a great pickup.
Yeah, right now Zach's looking at Bramble Sovereign. So this is a 4/4/4/4 that lets you, when you play creatures, pay 2 mana and get a copy of it. So it's great with non-legendary creatures to get another copy of them, even sometimes with legendary. I'm so excited to pick one of these green or black cards to add to his Jund deck.
Which
it's
is-
really
yeah.
his Jund lane is wide open.
He's lined it up.
Yeah, he can play any one of these cards and be happy with any of them.
Yeah, I think there's a good chance that whatever pick he has here is either going to make his main deck or see heavy rotation out of his sideboard. Yeah, I would be picking the Vraska because I think that's one of the best things to move into if you are playing mana creatures to play on turn 3.
Yes. Well, she is the prom queen here in this secret layer art. So, you're going to mess with the queen?
I wouldn't.
Yeah,
Well, unless I'm picking her.
Sure. You best be prepared for the snakes.
Yep. Zach's going to go with the Bramble Sovereign.
The Brambler has arrived.
Hesitates, but ultimately satisfied with his.
Yep.
Man, he's still thinking about it.
Nah, you picked the
He's-
Brambler.
yeah.
Get on Brambling.
He's brambled on. Oh God! See, man, I love an Escape to the Wilds. That's so powerful. Gives you some ramp. You can play an extra land, and you can exile 5 cards and play them not just this turn, but also your next turn.
Yep, and that is what Zach goes with. So this is just a strong. Most of the Gruul cards, the red-green cards in this cube, care about creatures. I made an exception for Escape to the Wilds because it's just so dreamy.
It is.
Here we have yet again 3 cards in Jund colors.
Yeah.
His lane is wide open.
Toxtrol, Falkenrath Aristocrat, and Murderous Rider. And Zach is really still in the throes of deciding what he wants with 3 cards left in the pack, which means you have really positioned yourself well throughout the draft to be getting this stuff this late.
Yep, Zach read the signals. He toyed with blue a little bit, but you know what? I'm staying with Jund. Reed Duke on the other side of the table, learning from the best. And Toxrill is in consideration. Great with Doors of Durin. Also, some say Toxrill is the Black Elish Norm. But it looks like he went.
But you know what Zach says? Zach says, I want to fight someone with this Falkenrath Aristocrat.
Yep. Here we have Braids, Arisen Nightmare, or Junji, the Midnight Sky.
There we go.
Yes. Junji, one of the rare forms of discard in the cube. Not a lot of dress, and he got Price of Fame last pick. He raises his eyebrows because this is most of the time, a 2-mana destroy creature, surveil 2, and that's pretty good.
Zach, and we see he looks pretty happy.
Yeah,
he's looking and he's like, yeah, I think I think I did pretty good. And we have, I mean, this is quite the pod. There's no free wins here.
No, it's a rough hill going up.
He's gonna and Zach is gonna have to work for that. If he wants to get the cheese, if he wants to be the cheese that stands alone,
he's got to work really hard for this.
At the end of this, and it looks like we're seeing the last couple of picks go around the table. And again, we have the other drafters in this cube. So Zach is going to be up against Reed Duke,
the Jun Master himself.
So Zach is really going to be put to the test in the first round. But beyond that, we have Bob Marr, Jamie Topple, Sky Warfield, Drake Sasser, Jarvis Yu, and Strategist, all vying to be the cheese that's standing alone and get this mound of cheese, which undoubtedly they'll share with everyone. There's too much of it.
There's too much just cheese at stake here. So Zach's will be looking to butter up his opponents, milk his deck for all it's worth.
There we go.
Thank you. Milk his deck for all it's worth, and really try to get some of these synergies online. So he's got Doors of Durin to work with all these creatures. He's got mana creatures on turn 1 and 3 mana planeswalkers to play perhaps on turn 2. He's got a lot of stuff that he needs to do and try to find the holes in his opponent's Swiss cheese game plan.
There we go. And much like cheese, there's no limit on the amount of cheese puns that you should be making.
There is not, Justin.
Thanks. So, and it looks like our players are going to be moving into deck building. We see a portion of them here, and we are going to be seeing Zach in our first round.
Yep, so he'll be working on his deck building skills as he plays against Reed Duke. So, so we'll be coming back here to the booth with Justin and myself here at CubeCon at GameholeCon here in beautiful Madison, Wisconsin.
That's right. David, how do you feel like Zach's deck is representing your cube, living the dream? Do you think he's going to be living the dream? What do you think his dream is?
I think his dream is to cast a lot of spells without paying the mana cost, put them into play without paying the mana cost, or generate a lot of mana. So he's got a bunch of 1-mana creatures along with the Biophagus on turn 2. He also has Escape the Wilds on turn, for 5 mana. Could be as fast as turn 3. If he plays Escape the Wilds on turn 3, it'll be hard pressed for his opponent to come back from that.
Yeah, that is a significant amount of value and additional mana ramping to be able to pay that off. Would you say that Zach's deck is average, lower, or higher of a mana value average of a deck?
Well, it depends if he's playing his Skitter Beam Battalion, because cards like that. So that's really going to change the values. He's playing a green X deck, so he did get the pleasure of having 3 1-mana creatures, I believe, to let him cast these spells really on time. So every color in this cube kind of has a cool thing they do. White gets to do some white things. Green gets 1-mana creatures that lets you go, starting off in turn 1, you're on the board. Right. Red lets you cast a lot of spells for free. Blue lets you cast blue cards. Black lets you have removal spells, and white is a color that people can play with in the cube.
Wow. Well, it's clear the colors you love and the colors that you feel forced you have to play with. It's tough out there being white cards 2023.
I mean,
or every year prior.
Previously, when I played this cube with Dan Schneider of the Devoid Cube, we were in a Selesnya mirror match in the finals, green-white versus green-white. It can happen.
It can happen.
Yeah, cube is great. Maybe
that was the dream itself of just seeing a Selesnya mirror match in the finals of a cube.
Yeah, you never. I mean,
I'm surprised you didn't retire the cube after that.
Have you ever played against a Farmer Cotton before?
No, I have not.
Well, clearly that's why you haven't felt the full power of Selesnya in the Live the Dream cube.
It's all concentrated in Farmer Cotton. Well, so Zach is, again, going to be the person that we're going to be covering, but we're going to let our drafters build their decks, and we're going to take a couple minutes. But before we do that, we want to shout out one of our sponsors, and that's Magic Online.
Yes.
Magic Online, one of our great sponsors for the weekend.
Yep. So Magic Online, or MTGO, as you might know it, is your digital home for Commander, Cube, Modern, Pioneer, Legacy, Vintage, everything under the sun. You can sign up right now for a free account. It's totally free to sign up and get a taste of there's some really good new player experiences, some new player gauntlets that you can jump right into the fray and get to playing. There's also Super Jump League. Super Jump is similar to Jump In or Jump Start. You pick two halves of a deck and play that. But you know what kind of format Super Jump is modeled after?
It sounds like one that we have a lot going on here this weekend
Yes.
at CubeCon.
It's Cube. So
Love it.
basically you pick two themes of a Cube deck. So maybe you pick Kiki Jiki stuff, and then maybe you pick like zombies or like Reanimator. You pick those and you put them together. You're off to the races. And you're cubing on Magic Online with Super Jump right there. Also, Commander is you can play Commander on Magic Online. 4 players. They have almost every single Magic card in the game on Magic Online. You gather your decks, so you can bling them out with all kinds of the secret layers and the different versions, different stuff. You can get those together, so you can play Commander.
What if you want to be a little more competitive?
You want to aim for the Pro Tour?
Maybe I might.
Maybe you might. Well, you can also qualify for the regional championship in any of 7 different formats on Magic Online and compete with the best in the championship showcase.
Where would I go if I need to find out more about this information?
Well, you could just simply go to mtgo.com.
And it's so simple.
It's so simple. You can download it right there, run it on any Windows machine, and get to the Magic. So right now we just had Vintage. They had Vintage Cube up there for 2-week span. Vintage Cube, the most played cube ever.
That's right.
Magic Online has tons of cubes up there at all times. Modern, if you've been thinking about them beans.
Think about them beans.
Them beans. We got Modern. We
Wow.
got Beanstalks on Magic Online, MTGO. And you can play Commander with your mates. You get 3 friends. You can play Commander from anywhere in the world together.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Well, we want to, again, thank Magic Online, MTGO, for being one of our great sponsors. We're going to take a quick break while our players finish deck building, and we will be back in just a few minutes. Don't go anywhere.
Nowhere. Stay here.
Don't go anywhere.
I love Cube.
That's great. I wish I was Cuban. You think we can fit one in?
I think we can. In the break.
You can do a 2-man cube.
2-player Cube.
2-player cube right here in the booth.
Houseman draft.
I'm down for down. They didn't use all the cards.
Oh, there's like still 200 left.
That is enough.
We got to get in there.
We would only need about 180 of those.
Yeah.
Okay.
90 plus 81.
About 180.
That's 171.
Just grab the whole stack and we'll
Who's
just go
counting?
from there.
Yeah.
Great. We don't know if we're still live yet, but this would be a normal conversation we would have.
Well, we just love cubes so much. And I will act like it's still live until told differently.
Right.
And it's so wonderful to be with all these cube players here in Madison, Wisconsin, Gamehole Con, at CubeCon, with all our organizers.
Great. So we're going to check with our producer. Thank you all for watching CubeCon.
2023.
A lot of great cube tint coming up over the course of the weekend.
Do you think that was too cheesy?
Not enough.
Oh, we need more cheese.
You could go cheesier.
Mhm.
So if there's a cube that's not yours, that's not the Live the Dream
Yes.
cube, what cube would you like to draft that's here at CubeCon?
The old bordered foil cube.
Mm,
So I love foils. If you've seen the Live the Dream cube, a lot of them are foils.
I have very recently.
Some of them had borders which were old, but not all of them.
Yeah.
And there's a cube here where every card has that border and is foil. It's beautiful. You haven't lived until you've seen a 7th edition Birds of Paradise foil.
It's true.
That should just be in the Louvre. Next to Mona Lisa, 7th edition Birds of Paradise. I just want to look at
Chef's
it.
kiss.
I've been looking at this for 5 minutes, and it's the most beautiful thing I've ever seen.
I have some really good news for you.
What do you? What,
We're going to be covering the Live the Dream cube later this weekend on coverage here at CubeCon. So not only will David have a chance to see this beautiful cube in action, but all of our viewers at home will be able to
watch the
as
old border foil
well.
cube here on coverage, and it is so beautiful. Like I think it was one of the most requested cubes to draft here at CubeCon last year because it's an experience. You're holding history in your hands.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I had
Truly.
a hand with the Birds of Paradise, Fact or Fiction, Psychotog, and I was like, I can do anything I want. The world is my oyster.
It's tough. You can only draft one of those at a time.
Well, I was playing. Sometimes you play the games that you draft.
Oh, that's
I know.
crazy.
Some people. So on the prefer drafting a cube versus prefer playing a cube, where do you land on that spectrum?
I like playing. I love playing Magic, and the thing is, I love drafting too. And you really, it's a combination for me. A lot of people just love to draft. They want to just draft, then let's look at our decks, then we'll just draft again.
Yeah.
I love both.
Well, I
love
see
to play the game.
I see people playing Cube right here. They're rolling dice to determine who goes first, and they're about to shovel up their decks and play some Cube. And wow, I love hearing the flicking of cards. Like, we had a couple years where there weren't a lot of Magic events in person, but we're back now. We're back here at CubeCon, and there's just so much Cube being had. I feel like I'm home.
Incredible. Yeah, I'm a little jealous, but we're gonna see if we can take a quick break and maybe we can get a quick 2-person cube here in the booth. But we will be back in just a few minutes with our first round of the Cheese Stands Alone event. Don't go anywhere. We'll be back. CubeCon 2023.
Cheese. I love cheese. Almost too much. Oh, okay.
Are we?
Well, oh, yeah. The cheese stands alone. The cheese cannot be stopped. So, players are building their decks here at the Live the Dream Cube. If you couldn't make it to CubeCon this year, don't fret. We'll have coverage all week long, and maybe, just maybe, you can come next year. Here in Madison, Wisconsin, GameholeCon, CubeCon. Cube is one of the best ways to play Magic because you can play any way you want. Do you want to play with the Power 9? Do you want to play with cards only from Khans of Tarkir? Do you want to play with cards only with old border foil? Do you want to play cards that aren't sleeved and you just bridge shuffle right up there? You got that. All those cubes are here. You can play with all of them. You want to play a cube that there are no colored cards. They're devoid of colors. We've got that. Do you want to play the cubes that feature deserts from Amonkhet and you draft the deserts as you play them? We got that. Do you want to play with cubes that are only commons or uncommons? Do you want to play with a cube that is data-driven and statistically the most played cards in Cube together in one big vintage cube? We have that. Like, there's so many ways to play Magic. It's a wonderful place to be, and thank you so much for joining us here on Nerd Rage Gaming at CubeCon 2023.
Guess what?
What, Justin?
All gas.
All the time?
No breaks.
No breaks. Only gas.
So we're gonna talk about Cube tomorrow. As you've seen,
do we have to?
We don't, but you know what? I want to.
Well, you're the boss, sir.
Thank goodness. So, cubes. What were you talking about? You were talking about cubes.
As it were, I was trying to list off of memory all the different kind of cubes we have featured here at CubeCon 2023.
So many.
There's 50.
50.
Almost 51. So there's 50 featured cubes, but right now in the hall here at GameholeCon, at CubeCon, there's more than just the 50 cubes being played.
Unbelievable.
So I have a question for you.
The cube that just got called, because we're doing on-demand drafts right now. The unplayable cube.
The unplayable cube is being played.
Yes.
Okay.
Unbelievable. You never thought it would happen. Unstoppable.
Yeah.
So I would imagine that cube is made up out of cards that are generally unloved by the cube designing populace.
Yeah, so Magic players love to use parlance that may be stretching the truth. So maybe a card such as Chimney Imp, maybe as referred as unplayable, like hyperbolically speaking.
Right.
So, but what if there was an environment where Chimney Imp could be played?
I would be impressed.
Well,
because there'd have to be 359 other cards. But you know what? It sounds like
we have that.
It sounds like we have that here at CubeCon.
Yep.
We also have some flavor cubes. We have the boat cube.
The boat cube?
The boat cube.
Okay.
The hook for the boat cube is every card, including basic lands, have a boat or ship of some kind in the art.
A dinghy.
So some.
I love dinghies. A boat. So do cards that in a deck called colloquially named the Boat Brew, do those cards make the cut? Revelark,
Siege Game Commander. I don't think that they do.
That's okay.
That's a deep cut, and I appreciate that, which I like.
Yeah. So Cube is amazing because it can be anything you want it to be. I want to ask you a question. What does Cube mean to you, Justin Parnell?
You know, I've been asked this question a lot.
That's a bad question for me to ask then. But
no, it's not, because I've never had a very good answer. So I'm going to fumble through this, as I do every time. Cube, to me, is a way, as a cube designer, to express your favorite thing about Magic and showing the world, and maybe at least 7 other people, how you want to engage with Magic in your favorite way. And it's so expressive, and that's really the thing I love about Cube. Not just if you're a Cube designer, but if you're a player, playing someone else's Cube, seeing what they want to represent as Magic.
Yeah.
And that's just so special. And there's truly no other ways to play Magic that you can do that, because I love Constructed and I love Traditional Limited. But Cube is so special because you truly are saying, I want to invite you, I want to invite this other group of people into my home in a Cube sense, in a Magic sense. This is what Magic is to me. These are my favorite things about Magic in this game, and I've been playing Magic for 25 years. So it's Cube is, I don't know, it really just,
It's a way to
it's just this.
It's just this. It's a way.
I don't know.
It's a way to share what makes us human, what we enjoy out of life. Why do we like being alive? A lot of times it's entertainment. It's to play a game, and it's our responsibility as Cube designers to share these feelings with other people and make them feel what we're feeling. The joy you get when you open up a pack and you see Yawgmoth's Will, and you're like, wow, look at this art. Look at this Ron Spencer art. Look at what it can do. Or you open a pack for the first time and you get a 2/1 snake that like adds mana or something when you play lands. I want this big Sphinx, this Goliath Sphinx this other person's got.
Crazy.
These feelings that just like follow with us and are etched upon our hearts, and we can share them with other people. That's what Cube's all about.
One of my favorite things in Cube is when someone is drafting a Cube for the first time, and then they see another deck and they go, ooh, I want to do that next time. I want to do that. Yeah, I want to do that next time. I see this other person over here doing crazy stuff. It doesn't matter what kind of cube it is.
Yeah.
It could be the Unplayable Cube. It could be the Live the Dream Cube. It could be the Old Border Foil Cube. It could be the Boat Cube. But you see something, and it's something that you're experiencing, but you see everyone else being able to experience it. You're like, in this environment, in this specific group of cards, that's something I can do, and that seems awesome.
Yeah. It's really making games is about having people feel things and have them experience some joy in this existence. So making a cube lets that person share these things with the people they choose to share it with. And here at CubeCon, you're sharing it with 400 other like-minded cube folk.
It's so special because everyone here, I mean, truly, there's not a single person here that's like, yeah, I'll come to CubeCon. Everyone is like, I love Cube. I want to support this format.
Yeah.
And this is the most fun I can have playing Magic. And everyone has agreed. Every single person here is like, yes, this is my favorite thing.
Yes. So
we've talked to so many people, and everyone has just thanked us, the organizers and the team that is responsible, you included, about putting this event together. And it is just very special because we have a format that has existed for a while, but is tough to put together in a way where you're able to experience it on a large scale with so many other people.
Yeah, I think it'd be a great time now to share who exactly the CubeCon Planning Council is for this year.
I
So
think that's fair.
I'll start off. Right now we have Justin Parnell in the booth, the production lead. Thank you
true.
for everything that you do.
Thank you. Joined by me is Michael Hepp, who is the production co-lead. He's behind the curtain over here. You can't see him. He might show up at some point. We have Jonathan Brostoff, who is, as he likes to say, the reason for the season. This is the conception of CubeCon was his idea.
Yep.
We have Zach Halpert, who
He's right there.
Yep, does a lot of the administrative work.
Hi, Zach.
He does a great job, and we're really blessed to have this a group of 8 organizers. We have Libby, Landon Liberator.
The Liberator?
Yes, who
Head
is
judge?
our event lead, takes care of all of the judging related stuff.
He's great. Libby's great.
We have John Terrell, Cultic Cube.
Cultic Cube?
John is the Swiss Army knife and truly does he does so many unique things, and is also the beacon of positivity, which trust me, we need.
We need.
Then we have Gwen Decker, the owner and operator of Cube Cobra, which many of us use to run our cubes. And then last but not least, we have Brian Kowal, who is graciously helping us physically organize this event, partnered with his store, Misty Mountain Games,
Misty Mountain.
to have everything that we need at CubeCon stored there, handles a lot of financial stuff for us because it is obviously expensive running a Magic event, and we would not be here without BK.
Yeah, BK.
We could probably chop a couple of other people out of the equation and still make it work. Not as good.
Do we need a production lead? Do we really need one? But BK of Misty Mountain Games, we were there last night cubing.
We were cubing last night.
As it were. It's a great store, and like everyone there, it was packed. It was, I don't know, 80, 100 people or something.
There was a lot of
Every table was full. Everybody's cubing.
It was day 0 for CubeCon,
Day 0.
and it had already started.
Yeah.
It's just an incredible experience. I mean, truly, this is our second of hopefully many CubeCon events that we've ran.
Plastic.
Yeah, knock on wood here, but and just the experience and the joy that everyone has. And the thing that I've loved, and this is something I've noticed throughout the days, I've been here since early in the morning, getting everything set up. People get here, they have their bags from the airport.
Yes.
They get here, and then in 5 minutes, they find a draft,
And
they hopped in a draft with someone.
They're off to picking. They're off to the races.
That's just incredible.
Yeah, I've been to a lot of Magic events, a lot of Magic cons and Pro Tours and stuff, and cubes happen there. I
Right.
bring my cubes to everyone I go to. Of
course.
And I get people together. A lot of people are there for a lot of different awesome reasons. Playing the Pro Tour, judge, go to the vendor hall, all kinds of reasons. Cosplay, all kinds of things. You come here, people are here for one reason.
Cube, baby.
Cube baby.
That's right.
Or to get some cheese.
Yeah, and our competitors are going to be doing both.
Both.
They're going to be doing, they're cubing.
For cheese.
For cheese.
If that's not living the dream, I don't know what is.
And you know what? We're going to work on getting a shot of the cheese because we've talked about this mound of cheese, and some of you are probably thinking, oh, they're talking it up too
Cheese.
much. Like whatever.
What, like a
I've
Kraft
seen-
single?
Yeah.
Like
I've
some
seen
string
cheese. What, you got
cheese?
some string cheese? Yeah. Yeah. No. Wisconsin, the cheese capital of the world, and that's
Yes.
something I've heard some people from Wisconsin because there's a couple people in our organizer committee that are from here. They're in Wisconsin, and
They
said the
talk
cheese
some
capital of the world.
cheese talk, but we're going to see for ourselves.
Yeah, but
here.
you know what? But what do we have to do right now is we have to get this cheese ready.
Yeah, I'm going to go eat some of the cheese.
Right, so we're going to take a quick break. David's going to eat some of the cheese,
That's why I'm here.
and then we're going to come back and we're going to see exactly what people are playing for and get into the action at CubeCon 2023.
See you there.
And we are back with CubeCon 2023 coverage. Justin Parnell and David McDarby. David, can you tell me what we're looking at right now?
Yeah, so I believe what we're looking at here is the prize for the Cheese Stands Alone tournament. It's a lot of cheese, Justin. I believe that is cheese.
Mounds and mounds, I believe, was your technical term.
Yes, multiple mounds have been sighted. We have a mound sighting here on the feature match area of, I'm not a numbers kind of guy, but I believe there's at least 8 different kinds of cheeses here featured.
I see cheeses. I see. It looks like it may be a jam in the middle.
Yeah.
Looks like there's some crackers on the bottom. And
for
you
the
can
cheese.
You can see them going all the way over to the end of Zach's playmat side on
Yeah.
the left.
We have a cheese hat there, I believe. I think that's a hat.
It is a hat. You will be required to wear that as the winner as you are eating your cheese.
As you stand alone.
Yes, you will stand alone eating your cheese, as is the requirement. So Zach is going to be going up against little-known player Reed Duke. Just kidding. Reed.
There's more accolades to go with him, surely.
There are. I don't have the list, but we have. Reed is a Pro Tour champion, very recently, in fact. But he is, known for a certain archetype as well, which is
Jund.
Jund.
Yes. So
And
the
that-
opposite of blue-white, Jund. When in doubt, Jund him out.
And that's what Zach is going to try to do to Reed. So Reed probably going to be wise to his tricks.
Yeah, so we followed Zach Hill in the draft. He has a Jund deck, so a red, black, green deck with a bunch of 1-mana creatures that can advance his mana and his board state into some planeswalkers and some large creatures that do various amounts of things.
And it looks like our players are going to be getting started. They have their opening hands, and we're going to see exactly what they're going to be working with here. Reed going first on the play, starting with a forest and passing the turn. Zach doing the same thing, but has one of those 1-drops in Noble Hierarch right off the bat.
Yep, so Reed does not like to see that. Reed needs to counter with something. It looks like he'll be countering here with a Felwar Stone. So now he can add green to his mana pool. Hopefully that will be enough for the 2019 Hall of Famer.
And we have red now adding to that Felwar Stone with Zach, playing a 3-drop, and that is going to be Selvala. Zach is looking to do a significant amount of ramping early here, and Reed's going to check out Selvala to make sure, yes, if Reed plays a bigger creature, Reed's going to draw a card.
Yep, so Selvala, Heart of the Wilds, adds mana. Basically, you get 1 mana for the highest power. So, like, he'll add 2 mana because Selvala is a 2-power creature. And then whenever a player plays a creature, if it has the greatest power, you draw a card. So it works for both sides. So here, if Reed plays a 3-power creature, which he does in Doric. So Doric is from the Dungeons & Dragons movie, Doric Nature's Warden. You'll get a forest, rampant growth, basically a rampant growth for a forest. But it's any forest. So you can get a Triome, you can get a Taiga, And then Reed here, we saw Reed draw a card because at the highest power.
Right.
And that's really good. That's really powerful. So not only does Dork Rampant Growth, she has Vigilance. And when you attack, you can pay 2 mana. And if you do, she transforms into an owlbear. Yes, if you've played Dungeons & Dragons before, you're all familiar with what an owlbear is. It's a 6/6 Vigilance Trample. And when you attack your other legendary creatures, you get +2/+2 in Trample. So it is, not only does it ramp you to mid-game in this cube, but it also is a threat that Zach will have to respect.
And Zach was taking a look at the owlbear, making sure that he familiarized himself with such a thing. And Reed was able to follow up not only with that, but getting the, looks like a Triumph or a 3-color land of some type out of his deck. And then we see a Mawlock come down, X equals 2, X equals 3 because of Selvala.
Yes.
Thank you very much, which is enough to take out the Dork.
Yep. So this is kind of live the dream philosophy. Both players had some mana acceleration, and they played a threat of some sorts that can draw cards or deal more damage. Reed's played, it advances mana state. Zach Hill answered with a threat that's removal spell, took away that other threat. So we're kind of in the mid-range game, and I believe here Reed Duke, along with Zach Hill, knows a thing or two about how to play mid-range games in Magic the Gathering.
Now, normally you need to play X equals 5 to draw a card with Mawlock, but thanks to Selvala, not the case here, as X equals 3 is going to get it done. Fight that creature, exile it, and draw a card, all for your trouble.
Yep. Selvala is applying the ravenousness needed to draw a card from the Mawlock.
That's right.
Yeah.
But the scary thing is not right now. It's actually when Zach untaps, because Selvala is going to be making 5 mana thanks to that Mawlock.
Yep. So Reed is here answering with a Llanowar Visionary. It's not only an Elvish Visionary and a Llanowar Elves, but it's combined to where Reed does draw a card. He only draws 1 card from him because there's a 5/5. So if Reed could play a 6-powered creature, he would also be drawing a card from the Selvala. But it's not looking great for Reed Duke right now. He needs something else to answer back, and he came out with a Mind Stone and then an Azorius Chancery. So now Reed has added white mana to his board. So with that Xander's Lounge, I believe he has access to all 5 colors.
And Reed really looks like, I don't want to say taking the turn off, but saying, I'm going to advance my board. Hopefully what you do on your turn isn't too devastating to me to make sure to handle that.
So Zach here has a lot of mana. So does Reed. Both players have a lot of mana. Right now, Zach is kind of in the driver's seat, but he has a decision to make as he is pondering his choices for the turn.
And we know that there was not... All right, we see the 4th land, and that's a swamp, giving Zach 2 forests, a mountain, a swamp, but with Selvala, essentially any color of mana.
Any color. So
wants.
It's very representative of this cube that both players, it's turn 4, I believe, and both players could cast Wooburg. They could add Wooburg to the pool.
And to have access to upwards of 7 mana more in Zach's case.
Yes. Selvala is a powerful creature.
And this is a critical turn for Zach, because this is, you're uninterrupted, Reed unlikely to be able to respond to anything that you are doing.
Yep.
So this is the time to play out one of your sledgehammers to change the dynamic of the game.
Zach has a few sledgehammers. He's got Paradox Zone, the 5-mana enchantment that just goes off. He has Grist the Hunter Tide, could be a removal spell for that Llanowar Visionary if Zach deems it so. He also has Mishra's Command, which could, again, be a removal spell for that Llanowar Visionary, and also maybe filter some of the dead cards from his hand out.
And we are going to see an activation of this Selvala. We're going to add 5 mana of any color, probably going to be, some combination of Jund.
Zach in here could 5 mana. Looks like he's 5 mana Paradox Zone, get that threat on the board, and then 3 mana Grist, and could just sacrifice that Noble Hierarch to destroy the Llanowar Visionary.
Yeah, I really like tapping a forest into Selvala to put a very powerful enchantment onto the battlefield. That's pretty nice.
Yeah, so Paradox Zone is a newer card from Strixhaven Commander. It enters the battlefield with the growth counter. And then on your instep, you double the growth counters.
Double them.
Then you make a fractal that's that big.
So we're looking at a 2/2, then a 4/4.
Yes. Then an
8/8.
Then I don't know how 2 powers that high up.
16, and you've lived the dream officially.
16?
I think if you get to double digits.
32, 64?
If you get to double, yeah.
128? 256? 512?
Okay,
1024?
too much. Reed is conceded at this point.
Zoning too much. So Zach did cast a Mishra's Command to take down that Llanowar Visionary.
So pairing up a removal spell in the Mishra's Command with the Paradox Zone is going to really put a significant amount of pressure on Reed. And that's not to mention, that's an attack for 6 with the Noble Hierarch giving Exalted.
Exalted. There are fractal tokens available in this cube. I know for sure. I got them yesterday. So we'll see if the players want to get the correct tokens for all you viewing, for your viewing pleasure there at home or wherever you may be.
And we'll see if Zach is able to get those. Checking out, Zach's like, maybe I could get these fractals, maybe not. We're going to see what Reed is cooking up. Needs to have a similarly big turn here to get back into the game. And thank you. We want to appreciate Corey, our coverage assistant, getting those tokens out that David worked so very hard to get.
So hard. They're, in fact, the only tokens that aren't sleeved because I didn't bring extra green sleeves for my green tokens. Wow. But anyway, I said the quiet part out loud. So Reduke here is trying to figure out what he's doing on this turn. He's facing up against Paradox Zone, something he probably hasn't done before. I do spot an Apex Devastator in his hand. So once Reed gets to 10 mana...
I have a question.
You have an answer.
Is that a reprieve in Reed's hand also?
No, that is a card recently from Bro Commander called Scholar of New Horizons.
All right, not quite reprieve.
Yep, that is Scholar of New Horizons lets you get a land from your deck to progress the mid game. It also works very well with sagas in this cube.
Apex Devastator, it's odd. It's a 10 drop, but it only has 4 words in its text box.
Yeah, well, it's got a lot more words in the reminder text box.
It sure does, because the words are what?
Cascade.
And?
Cascade.
And then?
Cascade.
And finally?
Cascade.
Excellent. So Reed is really looking to get to that 10 mana to cast a single spell, but actually 5.
Yep, and he has 8 mana right now. So if he plays a Mana Accelerator this turn and a land next turn, he's there.
He's there. But will Zach let him hang around long enough to do it? And that is the question. I think Reed is going to need to put something together this turn to blunt the assault that Zach is going to be doing with this 2/2 Fractal plus the Mawlock. And then we know there are more nasty monsters coming down the pipeline.
The night is dark and full of terrors. Reed Duke is going to be pondering his orb by casting the Palantir of Orthanc. So this is a card that, there's a lot of words on it, but basically the short form is Reed can either draw a card a turn or mill X, where X is a turn has been in play, and deal damage to Zach equal to that number of the mana value of those milled cards. Sort of a cataclysm, the red Gear Hulk.
Cataclysmic Gear Hulk.
That's the white one.
Oh, you've tricked me now.
I'm a big tricker. Anyway, so Reed is going to be pondering his orb right now. He's scrying 2. So he can scry 2 and then mill 1 or draw a card, and it's Zach's decision.
Right. So commonly, in the early time, people often will say, you can go ahead and mill, and I'll take the damage. I'm willing to do it in a couple of turns. But then when you're looking at so many cards or milling so many cards, the decision is, maybe I'll let you start drawing now, because that number could get pretty big. All right, and what is the decision? What is the decision here?
So it looks like...
Did we have that? Do we have that plains milled?
Yep, that was the mill plane. So Reed put the planes... He kept both on top, I believe.
And put both on the bottom.
Okay, both on the bottom, and then you mill 1, so the planes is gone.
Plains is gone.
So Zach takes
says
0 damage.
0. Best number to take if I'm choosing how much damage I'll take.
Mm-hmm.
As I don't see a Death Shadow anywhere on Zach's board or in the cube.
That's correct. If you want to live that dream, you can play Modern or Pioneer.
Can you?
You can play Modern. I know that much.
So we know that Reed is definitely trying to get up to that 10 mana to play the Apex Devastator, but Reed is fully tapped out. So I think the goal here is to live.
The dream?
No. Unfortunately, the dream right now for Reed to live is literally live.
Yeah.
In the purest sense of the word. As fully tapped out, Zach has all of the agency right now, all of the mana, all of the creatures, all of the enchantments that make more creatures. So can we press the advantage enough if we're Zach to try to close this game out, or are we going to leave the door open just enough for Reed to try to jump back in and get closer to that Apex Devastator?
Yep, so Reed's at 8 mana right now. So on his turn, if he has a land, he can get to 9. That's not quite 10. And I don't believe there is a way to jump up 2 mana on the same turn you'd want to use that mana. There are not a lot of fast ritual, fast mana effects, but Zach is playing Escape the Wilds.
To the Wilds.
So he's going to kind of draw 5 cards, but able to play 2 cards this turn, and he does have a Grist in the hand too.
Right, so we're going to exile 5. We've exiled 1. We're going to exile 2, 3, 4, 5. And this will be fun because we'll all be surprised together what these cards are.
Mm-hmm.
And we know this also lets you play an additional land this turn, which Zach's going to do with a Gruul Turf.
bounce that tap land, then play the land. So he has 4 spells that have escaped the wilds.
Wow.
I'm sure they're good ones because Zach drafted them.
Well, I saw in a braid.
A braid,
I also saw Duretti.
spaghetti.
Yes. Those are the only 2 I saw, but those are quite powerful ones. Oof. A braid and Duretti on this board, both of which can destroy artifacts.
Yeah.
That could potentially set Reed back to the Stone Age when he's trying to get up to even more mana that he's starting with right now.
Yeah, Reed definitely did not want to see that. So Zach right now, in chess terms, he's ahead of material. He just wants to 1v1 as much as he can so he can get to that end game. So seeing Duretti and a braid lets him get rid of both those mana creating artifacts. Reed can have his pondering, seeing stone. That's fine. It's not going to pose a threat right now. Well, he's going to get rid of it with...
Zach thinks otherwise.
Zach thinks otherwise? Yeah, I mean, so you don't know exactly what Reed might get from the Palantir. Zach is also probably not assuming that Reed has a 10-mana spell in his hand.
Right, and we're going to come in for 7, having Reed's life total, putting lethal threats on the board, and we're going to see if this pays off. I don't know if Zach's done casting spells. We certainly have a Grist that could come down, but are we going to play something from Exile instead, or are we going to see this Grist? Survey says Grist.
Grist, the Hunger Tide. It used to be a creature, but now it's a Planeswalker.
Yeah, moments ago it was a creature, and then it resolved.
Yeah, I believe Zach attacked for 9 that turn, which is not going to really matter in the long run. So I believe Reed is at 5. He milled an Inferno Titan, which turns out not an insect.
It is not. I believe it was 7. We have a 5/5 Mawloc and a 2/2 Fractal.
Okay, 7, yep. And Selvala tapped for mana.
It did.
Selvala's good at that.
So I was good at a lot of stuff.
Yeah, so Zach has a Grist, and as Insect is on the way.
Insects on the way, as is the Fractal.
How big is this Fractal?
It'd be a 4/4.
Is that 2 times 2?
By math, it sure is.
By your math, well, by my reckoning, that's good enough for me. So we're going to see what Reed draws for his turn. Yeah, the new Fractal is even bigger. Reed has a Forest coming off pretty quickly with 6 mana into... This card was Foretold.
Oh.
The Foretold card got away from us, and it's Alrund's Epiphany with a Loot Tree from the hand. So Reed is not only taking an extra turn, he's taking 2 extra turns and making 4 1/1 flying bird creature tokens.
This is a dream to live, absolutely, taking 2 extra turns. And you know what? This is the exact type of thing that Reed needed to turn this game around. And, of course, Zach not prepared for a significant amount of creatures paired with a couple of extra turns. So
okay, so the game has changed now. With that Foretold time stretch with 4 birds, like a full-off Lingering Souls, if you will, with exactly 9 mana. Reed had exactly the right amount of mana to Loot Tree that Alrund's Epiphany.
unbelievable.
So now...
It's like he set it up.
Like I said, so now Reed drew a dual land because there's a white border. So that will give him 10 whole mana for this Apex Devastator. And then, Justin, the dreams will really begin to live, and I'm so excited.
Well, the nightmares might be starting for Zach as soon as he sees the spell go onto the stack.
Oh, it was not a land. It was an Elish Norn. That's all right.
You've been tricked. You've tricked yourself.
That's okay. You know what? Reed's got turns to spare.
Reed has at least one more turn, and
Yeah.
we're in the first of 2 additional turns, and we are going to see Elish Norn Grand Cenobite.
Yep. So where once he had 4 power in the air, now he has 12. And he has 2 extra turns.
And maybe a 5 extra on the ground. And Zach says, despite me leading for the entire game, Reed is going to take it in 2 swift motions.
Yep. So we see there, Reed Duke has been replaced by Elish Norn, the Grand Cenobite. So that was a great example of the Live the Dream cube. Both players had back and forth in the mid game. They were making more mana, making threats, casting planeswalkers and enchantments and artifacts, all these kinds of things. One player, Zach, looked like such a head. He had such a dominant board state. Fully. He had tons more mana, more cards. He had just everything. Reed had a couple of mana rocks and 8 mana. What's the worst that could happen?
I'll tell you, actually. Elish Norn Grand Cenobite, directly after you play 2 additional turns, only one of which Reed needed.
That's
we
true.
didn't even need the second one. In fact, the other Alrund's Epiphany simply supplied 2 birds.
2 birds.
And that was sufficient.
2 birds, 1 Norn. Sometimes that's all you need.
Is there something that you would do if you're Zach? Is there something that you are changing to make sure? I imagine if that Hurl Through Hell did not make the main deck, it's coming in now.
It's coming now. So clearly Zach is the beatdown in this matchup, and Reed is the control. So Zach may be looking for less creature removal because... Doomblades may not be so good because Reed didn't really play a lot of creatures that you want to kill. They kind of do their thing.
Right.
He did play Elish Norn, but if you're playing Dual Blade against Elstorn, I don't know if that's the kind of the game you want to be playing.
Well, Zach killed all of the creatures until he passed his last turn.
That's true. And then Reed just had a time stretch.
And then they jumped up. So I have another question for you. How do you feel about cube content?
I'm a big fan of cube content. Could you tell me some people who might be providing this cube content?
Well, do you want more cube content that you have right now?
Well, I'm living and breathing, so yes, I do.
Great. Do you want to see interviews with your favorite cube drafting personalities?
That would be some of the greatest content I'd want to watch.
Well, that is good, because if you also want to watch that, you can go and check out Cubeheads, a cube drafting channel focused on bringing you the personalities and experiences in the cube scene. You can visit them at youtube.com/@Cubeheads. That's youtube.com/@Cubeheads, which is one of our mythic sponsors for the weekend.
Yeah, I've talked to some of the cube heads at Cube Heads, and they're really lovely people. They have some really cool merchandise, the logo that you see here right there. They've got it on stickers, and they're making cube accessories and stuff with their brand and stuff. And they're really fun people to cube with. I have in fact cubed with them before.
That's right. And let me see if I can. Okay, it's right. Boom. There they are, cube heads. Their little head. It's adorable.
It's a cube.
And it's a cube.
It's a cube.
It's all we could ever want.
They're really good at naming things.
Excellent.
And making cube content.
That's right. And I've enjoyed it. And you know what? I know that Steve, who runs Cubeheads, is making a lot of content here at CubeCon. So this is the best time to go and subscribe to that YouTube channel, because you're going to get a ton of cube content coming out of this event. And make sure you ring the bell. That's not even on the ad. I just know you need to do that to make sure you get the content coming right to you.
Right to you. So here on the broadcast, you see two cubes today, 3 tomorrow, 3 the next day, then 2 the final day. There's more than those 10 cubes here.
So many more.
And a great way to see some of them and see some of the cube content is with Cubeheads. So they give you another viewpoint into CubeCon.
Because you know what there's not ever enough of? That's cube content.
Cube content. I was going with cheese.
No, cheese too. Cheese too. It's tough. You know, there are two things I can't live without.
Okay.
I haven't tried to live without either, so I'm scared to start now.
Okay. So Maslow's hierarchy of needs, right here at the base, you've got cheese.
Cheese, cube.
And also Jonathan Brostoff.
And Jonathan Brostoff, who, thank you, is providing the additional CubeCon energy that we need as we are heading into Game 2 that we'll be going to in just a moment. And I know that those Zach and Reed, they're competitive, right?
They've known to enter a competitive tournament or two.
They have known to enter a competitive tournament too. And just because we're just playing for charcuterie board and a bunch of cheese doesn't mean that they're not putting their foot fully on the pedal.
No,
you can push on this.
You can never truly get rid of the fire to do your best at the thing you've dedicated a lot of your life to. Honestly,
right.
You spent a lot of your time learning how to play Magic, and here at CubeCon, we're getting right back into it with Zach, again opening with a Noble Hierarch turn 1, and Reed, instead of a forest, a Xander's Lounge.
Absolutely. We see a rare attack with that Noble Hierarch. Gotta get in for one. Gotta let you know. I didn't do this last time, but you know what? We're getting in early. I am the beatdown. And we see the Felwar Stone again come out, Reed answering with ramp of his own.
Yep, second verse, same as the first. And Zach, the beatdowns continue with an attack on turn 3.
As we do not have a 4-drop, but we have a 2-drop, and this is going to be
the Biophagus. Yes, so this is a 1/3 for 2 that adds another mana, but that creature is a +1/+1/+1 counter. So next turn, Zach could have access to 6 mana.
Very likely.
Yeah, so Inferno Titan could be coming down.
A big, extra big 7/7. That beats all the other Titans in combat.
It sure does. And Reed would be at probably 15 then. The race is on. So here we have a restoration
of a Gonjo.
So this is a rare white card that lets you ramp, that gets you ahead on the curve of mana, which is why it's in here.
Yeah, you're going to search for a land, have a chance to discard a card to return something that costs 2 mana value or less, including that land you just found. And Reed is going to play a bounce land to put more of those into his hand. So I think we're probably going to see some white ramping in the next turn.
Yep, so both players have their rampant growths as their companions here going on. Reed does have Lutri as his companion. You can see it up there, which is a fairly common companion in this cube. It's not that difficult to meet that companion criteria.
I would say wildly easy.
Wildly easy, yes. And the Biophagus comes in for 2.
For 2.
Yep. And here we have for 5 mana, Zach will be deploying a Paradox Zone is back again.
Right.
It looked pretty imposing last game.
Momentarily.
Didn't quite get there. We'll see if the Frax can meet the truths here.
Fortunately for Zach, Reed is a lot farther away from pulling off the Alren's Epiphany Lutri combination that he did last game. And looks like we have a Temple Garden coming down for Reed out of his graveyard, as it's what he discarded to the Restoration of Aganjo's Chapter 2.
So if I'm Zach, I'm feeling decently well because we know Reed has a Plains and a Forest in his hand.
Right.
So he's got a few lands in his hand, but also he has probably 5 other cards that may not be lands. So we'll see. But the onus is on Reed to do something about this Paradox Zone, because this Paradox Zone does not say the game keep going. And Reed answers with its own 5-mana enchantment in the form of Mirari's Wake.
Mirari's Wake, really exceptional at being cast and then untapping and letting you cast Apex Devastator.
That's
one of its
correct.
specialties, actually.
That's one of its known qualities here in the Live the Dream Cube. So next turn, Reed will have access to, I don't know, 12 mana, something like that.
I don't know if you caught Zach's expression on the cast of the Mirari's Wake, but he does not seem like he is going to be prepared to answer that as he attacks for 3 with this Fractal, having exalted from Noble Hierarch.
Yep. So we have the dichotomy of green here. Do you make a lot of mana or do you make a lot of dudes? And so we have here A versus B. Who's going to reign supreme? But Zach is going to help out all these Fractal tokens with the aforementioned Inferno Titan. Just 3 to the dome. Lightning chain, Lava Spike you, Reed. And then I'll make a 4/4. You're up.
And we're going to +1/+1 counter on that Inferno Titan, too. So that's a 7/7. We are putting a lot of pressure on.
So it's
Reed's at 10.
10.
But, man, I don't feel comfortable yet to call this for Zach.
Yeah,
because we did that last time, and we were wildly wrong.
Yeah, we're turn 5 now, and Reed has access to 10 mana right now. Apex Devastator could be around. If it is around, I would imagine that's the spell that Reed would want to cast the most. I mean, he has other plans for his mana-rich turn.
And we're trying to take a look, as you all are, at what could possibly be in Reed's hand. And I would imagine there's not an Apex Devastator, because it looks like Reed is separating his mana to potentially cast a couple of spells that maybe add up to 10, but aren't on 10 on their own.
Yeah. We're doing the math. I would imagine Reed is not used to having to count this much mana on turn 5 in the game of Magic.
Right. One of the most discomforting feelings when I'm playing Magic is when someone starts to count their mana with their fingers.
Yes, especially when they have a Mirari's Wake out.
You know things are about to go very poorly for you when people are starting to count with their fingers.
Yep.
So
here we have Eladamri's Call. So Reed can find any creature in his deck. We got a few options. We have Elish Norn.
Titan of Industry.
Titan of Industry is a big one. Can get rid of that Paradox Zone.
Trostani Discordant. But we are going to get the Apex Devastator to let Zach know. And Zach's response is, uh-oh, I'm in trouble.
Yep.
Now, I believe Zach is going to get a turn to live.
To prepare.
Unless we are counting wrong. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. No, this is 10. This is happening now.
Is it 10?
Because of the Felwar Stone.
All right.
This is happening. So, Reed, oh my gosh. So the first one, and Zach is just laughing at the hilarity, the ridiculousness. So the first one is Orange Epiphany.
Scholar of New Horizons.
Scholar of New Horizons.
A little worse than a 7-mana Time Walk.
Barely.
We've counted number 3, Skyclave Relic.
Skyclave Relic.
You can kick it if you'd like to, if you have the mana read.
You can't. All right.
And then here we are, the 4th one. Prismatic
Lens. Going to draw Reed a card, but not going to advance the board. But you know what? We're taking extra turn. We made a 10-10, and we drew a card.
That ain't bad.
It's not bad. It's not bad.
It ain't much, but it's honest work.
Well, I don't know if Zach agrees, but he was certainly excited to see Reed do it, as Reed's going to go into his extra turn here with a 10-10, 2 extra birds, and a bucket of extra mana. And the Scholar. I don't want. And you know what? It's not a 10-10. It's an 11-11 and 2/2s thanks to Mirari's Wake, because I don't want to forget that it gives your team +1/+1 as well.
That's the white portion of the green-white card.
Yes.
They're both evenly balanced.
They're definitely evenly balanced. We're gonna see Reed here utilize both parts in this game. You're gonna use every part of the Buffalo to try to put Zach away. Reed's 10 life. That's 10 more than I needed to be dead here. So
he's got 9 life to work with, and doing up the math. So Inferno Titan does do a lot of damage. So Reed has to make sure in his bountiful land of magical Christmas land 30 mana, he still survives this Inferno Titan, which means does this Apex Devastator attack and get chump blocked by the Noble Hierarch? Because it has 4 words on it, but they're not trampled.
They're not trample, 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 or trample. They're cascade a lot. But Reed's saying, I'll take. How about another 10 mana? How about another 10 mana? What's going to come of this?
Yep.
And this is a Hydroid Crisis X
Ooh.
equals 8. So that's going to buoy Reed's life total and put in a 10-10 flyer. And I guess that means Reed's going to draw 5 and gain 5.
Draw 5, gain 5. 12 mana.
I think this attack with the Apex Devastator is looking a lot more palatable right now that you've put a giant flampling
Flample.
beast jellyfish hydra, I believe.
I believe you are correct.
Excellent. On to the board. So we're going to see some action into the red zone just with the birds, or are we going to see the Devastator work its magic as well?
Well, don't forget the beast jellyfish. What would you say?
Beast jellyfish hydra.
Hydra. It's an 11/11. So here comes the Aganjo restoration transform side,
which is going to put another 1/1 spirit onto the battlefield. It doesn't have flying.
They're colorless.
They're colorless, in fact. But you know what? We'll see if that ends up making a dramatic difference in this game. Reed's going to keep his birds back, though, saying, you know what?
Inferno
I
Titan
feel pretty safe.
Inferno Titan can't take them both out. They're
Not
2/2s.
take them both out. They're 2/2s.
Mirari's Wake still providing. So the Inferno Titan will block the Aganjo Spirit and go down. But now Reed has another flyer.
And Reed's not done casting spells.
Oh,
Said
no way.
this was the appetizer. The main course is the Garrick Relentless, which is going to fight using its 0 ability to deal 3 damage to Inferno Titan, which conveniently had 4 damage on it. This means it's going to go to the graveyard, and Zach is going to be in not happy land.
Dire Straits. Well, when your opponent casts an Apex Devastator into a Time Walk and then draws 5 cards with a Hydroid Crisis, yeah, you're going to have to start reaching real deep in your bag of tricks.
We're going to really need to see some tricks here from Zach.
So Zach does have a Hurl Through Hell, I believe, in his hand, which can hurl one thing through hell, but Reed's got a lot of things that need to be hurling.
Yeah, I think to win, Zach is going to need to hurl Reed himself through hell to pick up this victory.
Sadly, Hurl Through Hell only targets creatures. If it could target planeswalkers like Dreadbore, like the players are, maybe we'd be talking about just creatures.
Yeah, not quite. And Zach going to take a damage on this Prismatic Vista. Normally not that big of a deal, but
it is
near. A little tougher here.
I mean, when your opponent has Mirari's Wake, every damage counts.
It absolutely does. And the first order of business is not all of these little creatures and the things on the ground, but it's that Hydroid Crisis, which has got flying and trample.
Yeah, I mean, Paradox Zone is putting up a fight, but it might prove to be too slow. So the Hydroid Crisis will be hurled through hell.
All the way through.
Just all the way through. So there you can see it. It's exiled, and then until the end of Zach's next turn, he can cast a Flampler of his very own.
Now, I don't know if that's going to be in the game plan.
I mean, it might be. You can use mana of any color. So Zach's going to be taking the spirit. There we have a ground spirit, Boonray Spirit of Choice.
Excellent.
Yep. And Zach can't block any of the flyers that Reed has. So there's 4 damage for sure coming through. But on the ground, he's decently able to chump a couple creatures or flat out block them in the case of Scholar of New Horizons.
And it's a quick 2-turn clock with those birds. So Zach is going to be deploying the last card from his hand, which looks to be...
Red Cap Gutter Dweller.
Gutter Dweller.
Yeah, so this one will make some rats. So again, the ground will be protected. The rats can't block, but the rats can be sacrificed in order to cast the top card off your library. You do have to pay the mana cost for it.
You do.
Sad to say.
Yeah.
The rate isn't quite that strong on this, but it is a threat of some sort that does give Zach some card advantage. And he does need to be looking for something to survive this onslaught that he's providing thanks to Mirari's Wake into Apex Devastator.
And it looks like, so Zach is going to have a shot at essentially 3 cards, even though he has no cards in hands this turn, drawing card first turn, probably sacrificing one of those rats, and then has access to that Hydroid Crisis till the end of his next turn.
Yeah, I imagine Zach is going to be next turn pumping as much mana through that Crisis, all she's got, and then seeing what conspires from that. Reed, meanwhile, has a full grip of 7 cards or something like that. There's a bunch of mana sources in his hand, but I'm sure there's still things he can do.
And Zach really needs to concentrate on simply making it to his next turn.
Just surviving.
That is, we're talking about what's going to happen on Zach's next turn. That's a reality that could never come to fruition if Reed has his way. And Reed does have a lot of lands.
Yep. He also has a loot tree. He just picked up from his sideboard.
Well, never comforting.
Never comforting. Yeah, not what you want to see when your opponent has 15 mana. So the Reed is coming in with the Devastator and the Bird tokens. So Birds will fly over for 4 damage no matter what. And yep, the smallest of the fractals will jump in the way of this quadruple Cascader.
Yeah, baby Fractal. You lived a good life. You got 2 damage in, maybe.
It did have the longest life of all the fractals.
It did.
So I don't know if it's the baby fractal. Maybe it's the grandparent fractal.
That's true.
Yeah.
And every
fracked the
lineage
most.
of Fractal just gets more and more powerful, which is exactly what it would want.
Yep.
Reed still has not yet deployed anything but looking to cast his first spell for the turn, which, if it's anything like the last couple of turns, is probably going to put Zach even farther on the back foot with an Asika's Chariot.
Yep. So there'll be some cats joining the fray.
3/3 cats, in fact.
In fact, well, those are some large, almost big enough to cruise on their own.
Yeah.
And here we have Dork yet again, so she's going to be pulling up another forest. It could be any kind of forest.
We're going to go to the basic forest,
Yeah.
says Reed.
But Sophie Lillis is here to aid Reed Duke in his adventure to defeat Zach Hill here in the Cheese Stands Alone tournament.
And it's going to be, at this point, a major upset if we even see Zach, I mean, certainly not even win, but even escape this game.
Yeah, and here we're doing some combat math of how much power Zach has. So, does Zach can Zach play a Hydroid Crisis with X equals as much mana as he has and then survive? Can he even do that? Or does he have to go really deep into the math tank and be like, Hydroid Crisis leaving, 3 mana open, so if I draw a land and a removal spell, I can survive, and that's kind of the game plan we're in right now.
Well, here comes the Snackerfice, getting rid of one of those rats, exiling the top card, which we're not quite sure what it is, but Zach is going to take a draw and still have access to that Hydroid Crisis as well.
Mm-hmm. Don't forget the forest. The rat turned into a forest. That's okay. Rats are everywhere, even in forests.
That's true,
And
especially in forests.
Especially in forests. And looks like Zach drew Master of the Wild Hunt, a powerful mythic rare card. Just
maybe not what you want here.
Maybe not what you want here.
This is looking a lot like a Hydroid Crisis.
Yep.
Currently, X is going to equal 5. Are we going to get it to 6 with the Biophagous or the Noble Hierarch? And Zach says, I'm thinking about it.
He's in the tank.
You got to get those. You got to get to those even numbers with Hydroid Crisis if you want to jump up on a card or a life.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes you do cast it for odd, and you just have a little more power and toughness for your Crisis, but it's not where you want to be.
Not where you want to be.
Yep. So here comes the Crisis. It is large, not quite as large as when Reed cast it. Oh, yeah. It's only for X equals 6, so Zach will draw 3 cards and gain 3 life, and we'll see if those cards and that life can sustain him through Reed's colossal onslaught of green and blue creatures.
I mean, it's definitely important. This is also just a blocker for one of those birds, which at this point in the game is critical.
Yeah, you'll take what you can get if you're Zach, and we'll see if it's enough.
And it's going to be extra critical because I would imagine that Asika's Chariot's probably going to come to town and make another bird.
Yeah, I would probably select a bird as well because it has wings.
Yeah, it's got wings. Wings are important, especially when they're 2/2s. They start making a pretty big difference.
And Mirari's Wake, people look at like big mana crazy cubes like green white just like makes creatures. Well,
Reed has an instant, which is going to be a unexpectedly absent X equals 1. Going to put anything on the bottom, on 1 down from Zach, and Reed's going to take it 2-0 in the first round of the Cheese Stands Alone. 1 step closer to the beautiful charcuterie board, which you guys couldn't even see because it was so filled with cheese.
Yeah, so Reed put that spell just beneath 1 card, and those wonderful cheese mounds are just offside the camera.
That's right.
With the succulent smells and visuals of the cheese presentation in the cheese capital of at least the United States. Here where we are at CUBECon. The world.
The world.
I would say the world.
As far as Google, an extensive Google search showed me the most cheese produced here in Wisconsin. Yeah, unexpectedly absent. Put the card 1 further down, but took Reed 1 step closer to the cheese.
That's right. So that was the first round of the Live the Dream Cube, the first cube featured here at CubeCon. There are 49 other featured cubes that we'll be bringing you 9 others throughout the weekend, but we've got more Live the Dream content to come.
We absolutely do. So we have 6 other competitors that are vying for this cheese.
The cheese.
And we're going to take a look at another 2 of those competitors potentially in the next round. We want to get some fresh faces. Reed's probably going to be hanging around. Reed's deck looks pretty powerful.
If Reed's past is any inclination, he'll probably be around playing Magic for a while this weekend. Probably at the top tables if there were top tables. But we don't really do that here at CubeCon.
No. We've numbered the tables.
Well, that's true. You do need some placards to know where to sit for the organization.
Right.
But there are so many different cubes being played starting tomorrow with the main event. But for today, there's just open cubing as far as I can see.
Almost every table is full.
Yeah. We're going to have to find some space.
All right. So we are going to take a short break. Don't go anywhere. Don't miss anything. CubeCon 2023, Justin Parnell, Dave McDarby will be back in just a moment. Welcome back to CubeCon 2023. I'm Justin Parnell.
I'm David McDarby.
And we are here to bring you round 2 of the Cheese Stands Alone tournament, which is featuring the Live the Dream Cube. And this is your cube.
That's correct.
And we are able to watch these people try to pull off the dream of their choice.
Yes, so we saw in the last round, if you weren't here with us, thank you for joining us now. We saw Zach Hill have some mana creatures get out Paradox Zone.
It was looking great for Zach.
It was looking so good.
So good.
Reed had, 8 mana, nothing on the board really. Untapped, cast an Auron's Epiphany that was foretold, then cast Lutri. Time stretch, 4 birds, Elish Norn, Grand Cinemite, attack you for 12, 2 times in a row. You're dead.
Yeah, it turned very quickly.
Yep.
I think there were about, of the people that I am familiar with watching that match, including myself, yourself, Zach, and Reed, 3 people were very surprised.
Who was not surprised?
Reed seemed to not be surprised. Reed, as usual, calm and cool.
And collected.
But no company. Was able to defeat Zach in 2 and is going to move on to the second round of the Cheese Stands Alone. And the winner of this event is going to get a laser-cut CubeCon exclusive charcuterie board and a unsafe amount of cheese.
Unsafe. A lot of cheese. Like,
Yep.
I would recommend sharing it with everybody who drafted the cube and everybody who covered the cube. I think he should share that cheese with.
Minimum.
Minimum.
It's a
Or
lot.
the winner should. I was thinking Reed because, man, his hair is lovely. But,
Right.
like, any of these players could win this cube. We're about to hit into round 2.
And we're not seeing Reed, even though Reed won. We're going to
We've
check
seen
out
enough Reed.
2 other players. We're going to see Sky Warfield, and we're also going to see, someone that's been around a little while. That's going to be Bob Marr.
Bob Marr Jr.?
Yeah, he doesn't come often, but you know what? Cube lured him out to return to playing Magic under the bright lights now of CubeCon, because obviously, what's better than Hall of Fame rings? Well, that's cheese.
That's cheese. We had a Hall of Famer last round. We have a Hall of Famer this round.
Yeah.
We got more to come at CubeCon, but right now we're going to head down to check out Sky Warfield and Bob Marr Jr. playing in the Cheese Stands Alone tournament for cheese, but really the Live the Dream Cube is all about living dreams.
Right, and that's what they're going to be trying to do. Sky and Bob both won their first round matchups, and I was only able to get a little bit, but Bob is going to be on the play starting off with potentially a Spar headquarters and a Rafid's Tower.
You got it.
Oh,
You got
thank
it. You got the
goodness.
Triomes.
Okay, and then we have a Stomping Ground from Bob. So this is a traditional start for the Live the Dream Cube.
This is traditional. We have a basic land on turn 2, which is okay, but normally you just see lots of Triomes, lots of dual lands and stuff because decks in this format, in this cube are lots of colors, lots of mana acceleration, all kinds of cool things.
Sky's got multiple basic lands in their hands, so I think this is part of the plan of playing untapped lands, which can be very powerful because there's a lot of tapped lands in this cube.
Yep, there are. And so Bob Marr will be playing. Bob will be playing a Thief of Sanity. So this is a kind of a card called a Hippie, Hypnotic Spectre, but kind of the opposite. Instead of them going down a card, you go up one of their cards.
Well, they go down 2 into their graveyard.
That's true. Yeah. So here we have a.
But instead, we're going to have Legions to Ash. Just get rid of this completely to exile.
Yes.
That's going to be gone.
And any other copies of Nightmare Spectre, of Thief of Sanity that were out there, they'd be gone too.
Great thing about Cube, not the case.
Not here, but
Not in
you
this
never know.
cube. And that looks like a Bloodbraid Elf.
Some people's dream is just casting this card.
It has been my dream many, many times. And we are going past, we see a Vizier of Tumbling Sands. One of the most unique mana efficient mana-making creatures because you can untap lands.
You can indeed. So, yep, so there's the Vizier. It kind of looks unassuming at first. It's a 1/3 for 3, a common here with, all these mythic rares and bombastic cards, but it adds mana. It untaps lands, so maybe you have a mana that makes 2 mana.
Maybe you have a Mirari's Wake.
Maybe you maybe you have an empowered auto-generator, a very common card that I'm sure everybody knows exactly what it does.
Right. So Sky looking at their options here to try to put something on the board, wisely using that removal spell last turn because Thief of Sanity can start to get out of control very quickly. And we're going to see an X spell, but it's also going to be a battle.
Yes.
And the only combination of that card that matches is what?
Invasion of New Phyrexia.
Right.
It is the culmination story, a battle of the entire March of Machine set. So this is going to come in with 6 defense counters, and then we'll make 2 2/2 blue and white night creature tokens with Vigilance. So that's going to hold the fort down, trade with the Bloodbraid Elf, and then maybe, just maybe, Teferi will make an appearance.
And that's only if Sky's able to get rid of those 6 defense counters off of the invasion. But you know what? Even for 4, putting 2 Vigilance creatures onto the battlefield against a Bloodbraid Elf, probably pretty good.
Yeah, that's basically something that trades with Bloodbraid Elf, and then the Cascade. Sky, they kind of cascaded as well into another 2/2 Vigilance.
Yeah, not bad.
Yeah, not bad.
Not bad. A lot of mid-range magic. I love it.
Yeah. Do you? How often do you think Bloodbraid Elf has cascaded into Vizier of Tumbling Sands in the history of the game?
At least once.
At least once. And here you're
And we
saying
saw it first time.
First time here at CubeCon, at GameholeCon, Madison, Wisconsin. Thank you for joining us. So Bob Maher is still thinking about what to do on his turn. Swings in for 3.
And yeah, I think we're going to see a block here.
Yeah, that makes sense. The Teferi Kosa of Zalfir, that is a dream to have that Planeswalker on the board. But I bet Sky they have other plans up their sleeves to see what's coming on next.
You could cast the invasion and put your dream on suspend.
That's
small S, not big S.
That's true. Here's Warcrafting does remove defense counters.
Sure, as noted. And we're going to see a
Rise.
Not fall.
Not fall, just Rise. So Rise is 1/2 of that Rise Fall split card. It's a Raise Dead and Unsummon for blue-black. Which is beautiful.
Unsummon quite powerful against tokens. And we're going to see the 2/2 be bounced back to hand. And as soon as Glare becomes our friend, we will identify. Is this a Kodama's Reach?
It is indeed.
Okay, all right.
Kind of like Cultivate, but it's got Spirit,
It does have Spirit, and this is an excellent ramp spell. Not only ramping, but fixing your mana. Critical in this cube as you're venturing into 3 and 4 colors for many, many decks.
True, and we see Bamar has, I think, every color in play right now, just as Keranos would will it to be. So Bob is ready to cast any card in his deck that he basically wants to next turn.
I pray to Erebos myself.
Well, sure, that makes sense, knowing you.
Right.
Yeah.
Keranos for you. Got it.
Of course,
Just want to make sure
we got
where we stand.
Yep, so here we have a Mintra of the Meek. So this is rather unassuming, but it does draw cards when you play the little creatures that kind of mess up your opponent or do a little disruption. You can just, cantrip them and draw a card.
And Sky dropping a bounce land, which would be quite powerful with that Vizier if they had it under their control.
Yep.
But instead, Bob has it on his side of the board.
Orja Basilica, representing the Church of Deals here from Ravnica. So looks like Sky's fully in the Esper territory. Meanwhile, Bob is, every color of the wind.
Right, and which is going to give him a lot of options. And Bob in the tank, saying this is a critical turn. I'm going to have to do. I have the opportunity to essentially play any card in my deck.
And most of the cards in this cube are not 2/1s for 2. So we're really, there's a lot of ground to cover to figure out where you want to go.
Right, and also a lot of ground to cover for us to figure out what he could possibly cast. Because it could be anything.
Anything in the cube. Just look at this board state. Isn't it? The world is Bob's oyster right now.
Yeah, truly.
I wish I could be him, just only to play this game of Magic together.
Yeah, I would really love if Bob had his own battle. Invasion of Alara. That's what I would love to see here right now.
I'm more of a Garth One-Eyed man myself. I just love casting Black Lotus. You know how it is.
Yeah, I just like the concept of being able to have Bloodbraid Elf, but also cascade into it. Cascade.
So what if you cast 2 creatures, Hidetsugu and Kaidi?
Well, they're combined into 1 creature.
They're friends. So here, Bob will essentially brainstorm. And I think that was a Maelstrom Wonder, I believe, and a Wildfire Devil. So Jin-Gataxias. So he's got Jin-Gataxias, Maelstrom Wonder, and some other cards. So he's going to put
Jin-Gataxias
on top of the 1/3 for 2 mana, which is kind of like a 2/1. So here, if Hidetsugu and Kairi do end up dying, Bob will be able to cast that Jin-Gataxias for free, and Sky would lose 5 life.
That's Not what you want.
That's not what you
That's
want.
not what you want.
Here we have, maybe that's Cultivate. You would think I would know, being the designer of the cube, but there's a lot of cards out there, but I'm pretty sure it's a Cultivate
A lot
now.
of different versions of a lot of different cards, and you're going for maximum cool factor.
I am.
Doesn't help. Past David McDarby did not help future David McDarby thinking about doing this in coverage.
Yeah, that guy, what was he thinking?
Yeah, but you know what? The people down there are definitely enjoying all of the different versions of these cards.
And
I know I do when I play this game.
And that's what it's about at CubeCon. It's not about readability. It's about having a good time.
So, really, I mean, an excellent follow-up to the Hidetsugu and Kairi, because that's Brainstorm plus a Shuffle.
Shuffle effect.
And that, honestly, it's very appropriate. You have a 5-mana Brainstorm with a 3-mana Shuffle. Slightly more mana-intensive than the general 1-mana Brainstorm and a Fetch Land to Shuffle, but, it's appropriate for Live.
Here we're spinning the wheel. Dragon Ecor spin Prismari command. So Sky will lose 3 life, but Bob will be able to cast his card for free. I'm assuming shocking the Mentor of the Meek and
make a treasure.
Perhaps make a treasure.
Yeah.
Yeah, so this cube, it's got a few nicknames. We got a Reader Cube, Shiny Foil Can't Read on Coverage Cube. Also Spin the Wheel Cube is a common one, and we got to see some wheel spinning right here, right now.
Bob spun the wheel a couple of times with Cascade.
Mm-hmm.
Spinning it with a random effect.
Spinning it to winning it.
And honestly, considering what could have potentially happened, and we're not actually seeing a treasure, we're seeing a loot, drawing 2 and then discarding 2.
A double loot.
A double loot.
Yes, that's the blue portion of the card, because red can't do that.
If I'm Sky, I actually feel pretty good about that exchange, to be honest. I know we kind of got a little 2-for-1 action, but Hidetsugu and Kairi is going to do that to you no matter what, so being able to pick it off with a 2-mana removal spell, leave some of your more premium cards in your hand, and only taking 3 is pretty good, but you know what's not really good?
When your opponent casts Maelstrom Wonder?
Yeah, it feels bad. Feels bad.
Yep. So here we have Maelstrom Wonder, the 8-mana teamer, came out when the format formerly known as EDH became known as Commander.
Right.
And here we are, a gigantic 7/5. You get a Cascade twice. We saw 4 Cascades from a single card last round. So here we're seeing 2. So it's not quite as big, but this one gets in there the turn you play it.
Yeah, it also only costs 8 mana, which is a bit of a big deal.
Oh, and here we have Yarok. So Yarok is going to let Bob double up on any of his enter the battlefield triggers, but also it has lifelink, depth touch, and currently haste.
Yeah, that's gonna be a big problem. The bigger problem is the fact that I'm counting up the power of the creatures on Bob's board, and it equals
13?
approximate. I think it's 14.
Is it 14?
I believe it's 14, which is seems to be. Well, you know what? I'm going to be honest. We have a 3-power Yarok, a 2-power Nissa, a 7-power,
Yep.
and then a 1-power. That's 13.
Oh,
Right.
well,
1 life to live. Thank you for making sure you did the math right.
that's all you need is 1 life.
I'm sure Sky appreciates that you did it too, so
Yep.
they didn't have to go to 0. Instead, get 1 more turn
Yep.
to do something.
Well, here comes Nissa. She has her spark has ignited, and instead of creating Ashaya, the world awoken, they have Bob got the top card.
Right, as he often does. And I feel like Ashaya probably unnecessary, not really doing it.
Well,
And Sky agrees, saying, you know what, let's try that one again. Let's try that one again. That was a pretty good thrashing. And
Yeah.
I feel like Sky drew a lot of basic lands,
Yes.
and that is not always where you want to be with the Live the Dream Cube.
Well, Bob had a pretty strong start of Thief of Sanity, which ate a removal spell. It's
It
fine.
did,
We're all
yeah.
good. Bloodbraid Elf hit a ramp spell.
Yeah.
So like that's kind of what in this cube, Bloodbraid Elf isn't so much Blightning. There is Liliana the Veil, and there's Lightning Bolt. There's no Blightning. You'd rather have Bloodbraid actually hit a ramp spell like Cultivate, Kodama's Reach, Vizier of Tumbling Sands. So you can Bloodbraid Elf is less of an aggressive threat and more of a bridge you from the early game to the mid game while having a 3/2 that maybe can pressure Planeswalker or something.
Yeah, it's a guaranteed value engine,
Yes.
no matter what.
An engine. Well, it goes once, and then you're like, well, attack for 3.
Sometimes engines sputter out after one time. Okay, so
Yeah, that's true.
The Cube isn't the only thing going on here at
not?
CubeCon. No, there's some panels, and you're actually in one of the panels tomorrow.
Yes, I'm in the Behind the Spellbook panel, which includes me and 4 of my other wonderful luminaries at Wizards of the Coast, and we'll be talking all things about Magic, especially as it relates to Cube, and kind of see like what do we think about Cube on the inside.
Right, and that's pretty awesome. We even have another panel on Saturday, but we have a sponsor for CubeCon University, which is what we are calling these panels.
Yes.
And that's Cardcastle. It's our exclusive sponsor for CubeCon University, and they are the premier collection management platform for Magic players and collectors. You're both of those.
Yeah, players and collectors.
Well, did you know that you can merge the physical and digital realms by wielding your smartphone? You got it,
There it is.
right
There it
there.
is. Omniscience. There it is.
To effortlessly scan your cards and create a digital catalog of your collection, accessible in your browser or right there on your phone.
Oh,
you can stay
nice.
on top of card prices or even manage your cube.
Cube?
You'd like that.
Yeah. You had me at Cube. You also had me at our exclusive sponsor for CubeCon.
And it certainly is.
Which is
our
Cardcastle.
exclusive sponsor for CubeCon University.
University.
CubeCon University, which is our panels. You can free your mind from the chaos and clutter of your collection, join thousands of Magic players organizing their cards with Cardcastle.
I imagine that's a really big help when you have as many cards as we probably do.
We have at least 540.
That's true.
And probably a little more than that because we need lands.
Maybe. You need basics.
But that's tough to manage.
Can I-
And you could just manage that. You could manage that with Cardcastle.
Can I log my number of basics I have with Cardcastle too?
I bet you can. I'm
Okay.
almost sure of it.
I'm in then.
All right,
I'm
great,
in.
great. And our players are going to be gearing up for the game 2 of round 2.
As they attempt to be the cheese who stands alone.
Yeah, and we have some work. Sky's got some work to do. They're on the
right.
back foot, but going first can be powerful. I mean, that was Bob's deck lined up pretty well to do exactly what you really want to be doing. We saw ramp and cascade, and that was it. The whole thing.
Sometimes that's all you need.
It was moments ago. It was all he needed. Sky going to start with a Triumph on their side of the board, followed up by a Plains. We've seen this start before. It didn't work out last time, but now that I think that they know what Bob is up to, I would imagine that maybe a plan has developed.
Yeah, so we saw Sky last game have the Eternal Wanderer in their hand, and that's an extremely powerful Planeswalker, perhaps the most powerful in this entire cube. And I believe they have it in their hand again for this round. And once they deploy the Eternal Wanderer, and Bob can't take it off the board, the game might just be over.
It is one of those Planeswalkers. It's so efficient. It's plus and minuses. The numbers are so small, which means you can really manage it in a variety of different ways in so many different board states. And it's probably gonna. I'm probably gonna take this Nissa out with potentially trading with a blocker.
Yeah, so Sky,
when we get to 6 mana.
yeah, so Sky is going to pass, and let's see if they have some instant speed interaction. There are a few counter spells in this cube. They all cost at least 4 mana, because like when you're casting a 9 mana spell, you don't really want it to get 4 spiked or mana leaked or something. And here we have the Wandering Emperor.
Wandering Emperor. We got both.
We have
Sky's got both.
Sky has both of the typeless Planeswalker in their deck. So this card is, if you've played any other format of Magic, or if you've also played Cube, you've probably seen this card a lot of places.
I have.
Yes. So there's a lot of things, like you were saying, Justin, because this is the Planeswalker you were talking about the entire time.
It was.
And Nissa is going to be exiled, and Sky's moving up to 22 life.
I think that's smart. Rather than trying to make a blocker in instant speed, because something could go wrong.
Something could terribly go wrong, and then you're up a
like,
creek.
Uh-oh. Yeah.
And Bob's looking at some cards with a hideaway for Windbrisk Heights. He spies a Planeswalker of his very own in the form of Jace the Mind Sculptor.
I've heard of that card, and I've heard that it's better than all. We're going to see that it's not necessarily better than the card that was chosen.
That's correct. So Bob will need to attack with 3 creatures, and then he'll be able to flip that Windbrisk Heights and cast that card that is better than all and better than Jace the Mind Sculptor.
Right.
So, which, you might say, well, isn't Bob playing kind of a big, control-y, ramp deck? Well, sure, but we saw Maelstrom Wanderer hit some couple Cascade creatures, attack for 3.
I saw Bob cast 1 card and attack with 3 creatures last time.
That's really powerful.
That's a dream to be lived.
Yep.
And now we have the slow control of the Wandering Emperor. Bob does not know that the Eternal Wanderer is going to be coming down very shortly, and I mean, Jin-Gitaxias.
Full name. Full stop. We're done here. So Jin-Gitaxias is a 5-mana blue creature. It's a 5/5, 5/5 for 5. That's how they write the book. But anytime Bob casts kind of a big spell, he'll get to draw a card. And then, if Bob somehow has 7 cards in his hand, he can pay some mana and then achieve the Great Synthesius, I believe.
Synthesius? Okay, that's how they say it on the streets.
Don't quote me on that. But it is a strong card, again, from 1. And we'll see if Sky is going to deploy her own card from Mom. So here we have the Invasion of Fiora.
Love it.
Yeah, where Dak Faden came from.
We
Greatest
are
State of the Multiverse.
Well, we are. We looks like we were going to see a March of the Machine cards no matter what.
Yes.
It looks like it was the Invasion of Fiora versus Eternal Wanderer, and I think just go ahead and clear up the board.
Yep. I believe Sky destroyed all legendary creatures and maybe all non-legendary creatures
Just to
too.
flex. I would.
Who knows? I mean, I would.
Got to pick them all.
You gotta.
Yeah, you got to do it.
You gotta. So Fiora destroyed Jingataxias. They tried invading the multiverse. Didn't work out so well for them.
No, absolutely
That's how
not.
it goes.
And now we have a Vigilant 2/2 from that Wandering Emperor.
And Bob just says go. So Bob either doesn't have the right colors because he's missing black mana, or has an instant speed trick on Sky's turn.
I mean, black is the most powerful color of mana, which everyone in the whole world can agree with.
I believe you believe that.
Yep. And we're seeing a tale of two games here.
Yes.
I believe we were now seeing Sky.
Oh.
Oof,
Oh.
boy. All right, that is a Breach the Multiverse. Man, we are March of the Machines is showing out in this game.
It really is. We're playing Mars Machines Limited right now, but just with the good cards. So here, Sky is going to move. Each player will mill 10 cards, and Sky will get to choose a creature or planeswalker from each graveyard. It didn't even have to be one of the milled ones. It
No,
could be
just whatever
Jingataxias.
Just whatever you want.
Whatever you want. Also, they're Phyrexian in addition to their other types. I know you were wondering. You were making sure.
I was.
So I want to clear that up for you. So
Yeah, in case it comes up. You never know.
you never know. So here we're going to check out the cards. AC, we have there. Tifo Sanity and Jingataxias. So it looks like it just might be AC or Jingataxias.
Well, let's see what Sky's working with over here.
Yeah.
Let's see what Sky's working with.
Sky has-
Sky's working with a Fallen Shinobi, which is quite powerful. It says, you know what? I could take one of your cards, but I'll take one of mine first, and then later I'll take yours.
Yeah. So Sky does choose AC, the Tire Giant straight. Basically, Sky will be able to play an extra land each turn, and then whenever they play a land, draw a card. Looks like they do not have any lands in their hand. That's all right. The turn was still pretty impressive nonetheless.
Right. Yeah, I think we can call that a successful turn. And now, in this cube, we know we can see amazing, incredible comebacks from a position of nothing.
True.
But Bob truly is working with nothing.
Yep. So Bob played his 7th land and said, pass the turn.
Right, and I don't believe that is the plan. Sky says that might not be the plan for you, but it's the plan for me, and I'm not going to stop this beatdown that I have. I would imagine we didn't see a sweeper. So do we think we're going to turn this Invasion of Fiora into a Marchesa? Sky says yes.
Yes. I would imagine that to be true. So, yes, so Marchesa, Resolute Monarch, will make an appearance. Long may she reign. This is a card. Long may she reign. This is a card that, it just does a bunch of stuff. Sky's board is truly getting outrageous, and there's so much going on here. So now Fallen Shinobi is going to find some goodies. There's Marchesa. And Sky has hit some spells. I'm not sure what, but they weren't lands. So
Bob's saying, I'm going to take a draw and then see if we can go to the next game. This is the body language.
Yeah.
This is the body language I see over here.
yeah.
And Sky's like, oh, all right. Well, that sounds good. Let me cast some more spells just to try to drive it in further.
Yeah, so like now Sky's kind of getting some reconnaissance going on.
Yeah,
seeing what your deck's about.
Yeah, before you concede, let me just see
Please
what
wait.
we have going on.
Yeah,
here.
let me see more. Let me see your secrets. Why are you hiding them? Give them to me.
Yeah.
But you know what? You can go. You can go and go.
All right. Bob rubbing that one on the table. We have the Nicol Bolas Planeswalker, a good one.
Yeah.
Not good without black mana.
And it needs not just one black mana,
But two.
But two.
All right, we are at 8, so we are going to see this Maelstrom Wanderer that's been hiding in Bob's hand.
It's got a lot of work to do.
It does have a lot of work to do, but it's one of the cards that can do a lot of work.
You want to hit 2 7-drops right here, right now.
That's a Cultivate, or excuse me, Kadama's Reach.
You're excused. Okay, we'll look. It says, does Bob have basics in his deck?
Bob does
Doesn't look
not have
like
any
it.
cards in his deck in general.
Well, the multiverse was breached, and the Shinobis did fall, so there are not a lot of cards, and the Insight was siphoned.
This guy's like, yeah, let's see. That's a Yarok.
Yarok.
You know what? I mean, that has lifelink.
It's not bad.
It's not bad. I also don't believe that Bob is at 20.
Yeah, that's all right.
I think it's probably about half of that.
Mhm.
So we can assume
No.
that Bob is at 10.
Yeah.
Marchesa is a very, very menacing. And
means-
that's not good when
It has Death Touch as well.
yeah. So would you like to trade both of your creatures with Marchesa? No? Yeah, I didn't think so. What are we picking up?
We picked up another battle, an invasion. But first, we're going to Council's Judgment.
I'll select I don't know, Yarok. Would you like to select anything? You can select
No.
ending the game.
So game one, Sky, we were kind of doing a March of the Machines kind of. This was more of a conspiracy match because we had Council's Judgment, we had Marchesa, we had so many different things from that set as Sky just kind of did their thing and cast a lot of good spells. And, well, the saddest part about the game is Maelstrom Wonder was on D.
Not even.
That
didn't even get a
didn't
chance.
even get there. But every time Maelstrom Wonder is cast and doesn't attack, an angel loses its wings.
It's true. And this time, Bob lost his life.
Well, he only has one toughness.
That's true. And, well, fortunately, let's see if that toughness is taken down to 0 because we're in game 3, and we've seen game 1, domination. Game 2,
Domination.
Both of these decks showing out. So we now know what both of these decks are capable of. Sky really has, all of the black and white cards we saw is the power level of the cards they cast this time are through the roof.
Yes.
Where Bob is saying, I'm going to take a sampling of every color.
Yeah, a little like perhaps maybe you had a bunch of cheese to offer and you want a one bite of every cheese.
Yeah.
Sky's like, give me that Gouda.
Yeah, I want that.
I want that Gouda. Just the Gouda.
Just the Gouda.
Just the Gouda stuff.
I really love that at the very end, the last card that Bob drew before dying was Nicol Bolas Planeswalker with no black. Access to 0 black.
Yeah, that is a common that can happen to Live the Dream cube.
Yeah.
That can happen, especially when you get 10 cards milled and then your inside gets siphoned and your Shinobis get fallen. Sometimes you just run out of cards. There are not many cards in the cube that mill a lot. There are a couple. Invasion is the biggest one.
It's a big one.
It's a big one. So black generally has
Behold the multiverse.
Behold.
Yeah.
Yeah. That one's fine too. So Sky's game plan, they're kind of like on battles. They want to battle. So play some planeswalkers, play some removal spells, attack my battle, get my battle person, and then go to town. Bob Maher Jr. is on a cultivate into Nicol Bolas plan.
Yeah.
That's kind of
the two schools of thought.
The two schools of thought.
Yeah.
So we saw that last game. Bob didn't play anything on turn 6, I don't think, or even 7.
Or 7, both.
So you just can't do that in this cube. You don't have time to. Some cubes you could like play some creatures early on and then maybe ride them to victory. Not in this cube. The game starts on turn 3 in this cube.
Right, and we're seeing opening hands here. I see a lot. We have the Maelstrom Wanderer back in Bob's hands.
And Nicol Bolas Planeswalker. That's
Nicol
right
Bolas
where you want
Planeswalker.
them, in your hand,
Yeah,
opening hand.
I know. So talking to Sky earlier, they love to make tokens. I love to make tokens too. So they went into this draft saying, I want to try to get a lot of the best token making cards, and I think we saw a lot of them in that last game. And that Rafine's Tower is very consistent for Sky.
Yeah.
Best turn 1 play in their deck, and they've nailed it.
If I could choose a companion, I might choose Rafine's Tower.
That's not a bad
No.
choice.
Bob Maher Jr. Played the first rare I ever opened in the game, Lotus Cobra.
That is a good one to start with.
I was not impressed. I thought it was pretty lame.
Oh man, see, and I understand because you know what mine was?
What?
A card that's not in anyone's cube here. Might of Oaks.
Might of Oaks.
And I was really impressed.
Did they guess where you were going to plant this?
Anyway, we
have
Black Sun's Twilight, taking out the 1 toughness of that Lotus Cobra before deploying a Nissa Vastwood Seer, picking up a forest to go into Bob's hand.
Yeah. So Twilight, Black Sun's Twilight is a good example of a removal spell with a dream.
Yeah.
Like a lot of cubes, Doomblade, Terror, because I'm sure there are tons of cubes with those cards in them here. But they kill a creature and we're done. End of story.
Yeah.
Black Sun's Twilight has a lot more dream that it can live. But it did the dream of killing Lotus Cobra. And here Sky follows up with Drown and Ecor. On the Nissa, another removal spell that maybe has a dream to live. What if you had a Planeswalker 1 away from ultimate? You remove their creature, then you ultimate, a turn ahead of schedule.
That's
a dream.
Be rough. Yeah.
That's a dream.
That's going to be rough for your opponent.
Right.
And Sky was able to deploy a 2-drop along with the tapped land, which is really just excellent. Bob's taking 2 from this breeding pool to be able to cast a growth spiral, hopefully to get on his ramp plan, which is obviously critical to his deck. We have another land coming out. Not an additional. No, that it was an additional because we played the breeding pool untapped. Yep. All right. 4 mana. This guy's taking a look. Is that a Gante?
That is Gonti, the Lord of Luxury, has arrived. So a lot of words, but basically you get to impulse your opponent's deck. That's it.
I love it.
Yeah, no shuffling. Don't shuffle.
No, put these on the bottom.
Yeah.
Don't look at them.
So now Sky gets to
Not
only does Sky get to get the best card of the top 4, but they get to prevent Bob from also having that card.
Yeah.
And in this cube, a lot of the games can go a long time. There's you can see a lot of your deck. You have access to it. Removing a deck of its threats is pretty pertinent here in the Live the Dream Cube.
And no matter what, even if Gonti leaves the battlefield or dies or is exiled, you still have access to that card.
The Lord cannot be stopped.
No.
You can try.
Luxury can't be stopped, really.
Luxury can't. So we have the Thief of Sanity, also in the vein of, give me your thing.
Yeah, let me get that.
Let me get that.
Honestly seems like it fits more in Sky's deck, but Bob wants to take a little sample from everything.
It's a win Drake. They don't call it lose Drake.
That's right.
Yep.
And we're going to see Thief of Sanity for the second time in this match meet a Legion of Ashes, exiled, and all of its friends with the same name, which is Zero. But, in case it brought some other friends to the party.
Yeah, so Sky definitely has the Doomblade strategy down pat as they're systematically removing Bob's threats one by one. And here we have a Maze Mind Tome.
Maze Mind Tome really great in this position here.
Yes, in these decks that want to 1v1 opponents, you need to recoup that card advantage somehow to have more gas in the tank, as it were.
Now, we know that Sky is on a little bit of a timer because once we get to 8 mana, things will start going very, very badly. But we're at 6 right now, and maybe Bloodbright Elf is going to hit some mana around.
We'll see. Can a miracle that. That's very sad. Yarok keeps on spinning. Joint exploration. You can kick
it.
Are we kicking it?
Yes, we can.
Are we?
We can. I don't know if we are. Bob wisely left up green.
Green.
So has access to it.
Yeah, we're just checking right now that you can. Oh, yes. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yep, checking with the table judge to make sure, because, there are a lot of rules in Magic the Gathering, and we keep making more ones.
There are. And Cascade is a complicated one.
It is. It's a very fun one. Like, that Bloodbraid Elf has 2 words, Haze Cascade.
Yeah, two powerful words. 2 of the best keywords in all of Magic, you could argue.
It's kind of a baby Maelstrom Wonder when you think about it.
Yeah.
Because Maelstrom Wonder has 2 of the bottom word and basically mass haste of the top one.
Yeah, it's basically 2 Blood Rails just slapped together.
That's what blue does for you.
You mold it together with blue.
Well, blue, you copy it.
Right.
So you copy the Bloodbraid, you have it ×2.
I figured it out now.
That's how we do it. That's blue, what blue can do for you.
And as the song goes, can I kick it? Yes, you can. Are you? A different story.
Let's get these lands at the bottom.
Nope, no kicking.
No kicks. That's all right.
But we do have a Maelstrom Pulse and a Kodama's Reach. And there is a land in Bob's hand. We have a basic forest. Not going to help cast the Nicol Bolas, but if there's a land yet to be played, we can cast that Kodama's Reach, find a swamp, and be off to the races.
Oh, I like where your head's at.
Yeah. Now, I would imagine that we probably, if Sky has a dedicated 5-drop or a land and a 6-drop, might not see a Scry, but I would imagine we are going to see a Scry at the end of turn off of this Maze Mind Tome. But Bob's turn isn't done. 3 and going to Maelstrom Pulse this Gonti.
Get out of here, Gonti.
Yeah, well, I mean, Gonti was providing the beatdown. Got to take care of
it. Got to take it out. Now we can attack in through for 3 and get Sky down to 17.
Oh, that's still very much in play. Yeah, double check that one. No, you got that. You got that for good. Bob's like, uh-oh.
Yeah, there's a lot of words in Gonti.
Yeah, there's a lot of words in Gonti. Bob may have aimed it at the Gonti to try to get rid of that extra card.
Yep.
Yes, and that's the case, and they're gonna back up.
That's a wonderful. This is CUBECon.
This is CUBECon.
This is CUBECon.
Yeah, we're not here for fun.
We're here to fun. We're here to have a good time. We're not here to not to. Undos are great. That just tells you the spirit here at CUBECon and the players here at the Cheese Stands Alone event.
Yeah, and Sky was just like, yeah, no problem, move right through it. And you know what? I get some free information. You have a Maelstrom Pulse in your hand now.
That's true.
I'll take it.
Yeah. So that's great. You love to see it here.
Orzhov Signet? Is that what we got here?
That's what we have.
Love it.
Orzhov Signet.
And still 4 mana available. Gonti coming in to the red zone.
2 more.
Still providing the beatdown. And now Sky is going to start drawing with this Maze Mind Tome.
Mm-hmm. They're going to need it. I mean, they don't know, but Bob's got some heavy hitters coming down. But Sky has the board presence, so we'll see what they can make of it once Bob starts deploying these threats.
We're still on 1 black, and I would imagine there's not an 8th land because if there was, I don't think we would have attacked and then played Maelstrom Wanderer post-combat. So instead, we see Jenga Taxis.
Yep, back here, maybe Bob can play a large spell and draw a cantrip off that. But, yep, passing it back to Sky as they draw a card, read a book, turn the page. Here we are.
Very good. Got a little bit smarter today, thanks to Maze Mind Tome.
Thank you, Tome.
All right. So what might we have? We're deploying a big one. Oh, this is
the Eternal Wanderer.
the Eternal Wanderer. We got so many Wanderers.
Yep. So
Guys, like, yeah, you're gonna want to
yeah,
take a look at this
yeah,
one.
this one also has a lot of words. I mean, as we all know, the more words a card has, the better it is. So Time Stop, Ancestral Recall, Lightning Bolt, those cards, not into that.
Yeah.
We're into the Eternal Wanderer. So here we are. It's a Planeswalker. It makes 2/2s like that character's other incarnation that came out recently. But instead of Vigilance, we have Double Strike. It's on.
Yeah.
We're not about blocking,
Yeah.
we're about attacking.
Nah, Double Strike. We got to get it done. We got a job to do, and we're gonna get that job done.
Yep. It also can blink creatures, and flicker them so that they get their ETBs again. But here we see Sky using the ultimate of the ability, and Sky then gets to choose one creature for each player to keep. Sky shows their one creature, has a play, and then left Bob with a paltry 3/2 Bloodbraid Elf.
Wow, I cannot believe that. But you know what? That's how it goes. If this is a land, this could look silly, but I don't believe that it was.
I think Bob found a card that finds 2 lands.
Not quite helpful.
Not helpful
quite
this
helpful
turn.
this turn.
Yeah.
Going to be helpful next turn. It's going to let you deploy that Nicol Bolas. And Nicol Bolas really excellent at destroying other planeswalkers.
Yes.
Hateful dude.
It also can sort of destroy creatures, and then it just let me get that.
Yeah, let me get that. I need to take control of it. We're going to serve in with our 1 Bloodbraid Elf at Eternal Wanderer, which I would imagine is going to meet a block. But instead we have an Orin Frostfang, which of course is going to give Death Touch. So are we going to see Gonti trade with Bloodbraid Elf? Yeah, I would say so.
Yeah, I would say so. Protect that Planeswalker. Tails Old time in Magic the Gathering. You want to draw more cards on your opponent, and when you want to block your Planeswalkers.
Well, Sky's doing great at that.
I mean, that's why they're down there and I'm up here.
That's exactly right. All right, and we are going to see some the 0 activation, and we're going to make a 2/2 double striking.
Double
striking, not just once, but twice. Now it's probably gonna serve as some blocks, but I also see an Elishnorn, I believe.
The Grand Cenobite, the large monk, some call her. Smaller than the other Elishnorn.
Doesn't Reed have Grand Cenobite?
Yes. So this one is Elishnorn, the Mother of Machines.
That's Mother of Machines. I thought Mother of Machines was. I don't know. It was tough to tell.
Yeah. Well, Reed has. Yeah. So that's the one Sky has, which is great with all these ETBs like Gonti and such. But they left other mana open. I believe they have the other depiction of that character that Sky has, the Planeswalker, in their hand.
Oh boy.
Oh, Jace the Mind Sculptor has made an appearance, ladies and gentlemen.
Oh.
And here,
are we brainstorming, or are we bouncing this token? And we're bouncing the token, man, which is gonna super not work out for Bob. And Sky's gonna say, yep.
Actually,
please
hold.
That's pretty good, but.
Here we have Pylon.
Pylon, okay.
Like a pylon, like a diamond.
Pylon.
Pylon. Yeah.
You must construct additional pylons.
Yeah, you must construct additional threats there, Bob Maher. So Sky is going to be surveilling 2, and Siphon Insight in the graveyard. That's value.
It is. Now I will say, Sky, we know there's another Maelstrom Pulse we knew about. Sky could have. They're gonna draw a card, but they could have flashed back that Siphon Insight had they used Pylon to convoke. Not convoke. Was it convoke?
Was it convoke? Yes, they could have convoke with
convoke, yeah.
Here we have a Polluted Delta.
Ooh, Polluted Delta. I love it.
People love that one.
Yeah, that's a pretty one. And then we're going to have a Council's Judgment.
It's time to vote.
I will vote for Jace the Mind Sculptor. How about you?
Bob's according to the rules, I must also vote for Jace the Mind Sculptor. 2 votes for Jace.
Yeah.
0 against.
Can Bob just abstain? Be like,
no.
Do whatever you want, but I simply won't vote.
We are in Madison, Wisconsin, which turns out is in America.
Okay, this is the card I thought was Elishnorn. Is that Mondrak?
Mondrak.
It's not.
Yes.
Is it? Well, we're searching a land. Oh, that's because we Polluted Delta. The previous card. All right, Mondrak.
Mondrak Glory Dominus.
Sky loves making tokens. Here we go.
So Mondrak's
they're getting into it.
If you make a token, you're going to make another one of any kind. Treasure, clue, food, creatures.
We still have that secret Gonti card hanging out.
Oh, what is the Gonti card? It's a secret to everyone.
I don't know. But what I do know is Bob has missed on land number 8 many times, and things could start to pull away. If we see a token maker, gosh, what if we see a big ol' invasion of New Phyrexia? Ooh,
I mean, we also have a token maker in Sky's hand. They have the Wandering Emperor.
They do.
So that already makes 2 Vigilant tokens as it out. But also, Sky's a 4/4, and Bob's got a 1/3. So that's also a threat of itself. Don't forget, Sky can make Mondrak indestructible by sacking those 2 artifacts.
All right, we're seeing a 5-drop deployed, which it is. Oh my! Oh,
baby.
I love it
my
when a
goodness.
plan comes together. And let me tell you, this is what they wanted to do. They told me they were like, I we're making tokens. How
Okay.
about 10 of them?
How about 10
How about
2-2?
10 tokens?
How about 10 tokens?
All right, time is officially running out.
Yeah, time is not on
Yeah,
Bob's side.
now we're gonna attack here.
This guy's like, I'm going to attack this invasion. Teferi, 4 steps closer.
Yeah. And that fairy will come down and end the game if it can, because it helps knights out so much. Now 10 of them can do the job on their own.
That's true.
So they don't exactly need one of the oldest planeswalkers around to do it. Bob found his 8th land, and I mean he's got to cast this Maelstrom Wanderer, but now he's got to pray to Erebos or Keranos or whatever.
Well,
whatever
but
you want.
Keranos would make more sense, right? It's a teamer creature.
Well,
I'm
we'll
just saying
find
you're
out.
wrong.
We'll
I'm just
find
saying you're
out.
wrong. That's
We'll
all I'm
find out.
saying. Yep. So Bob really needs some help here. Quite
a lot of
help.
A lot of help.
Hidatsugu and Kairi, that does block a 2-2.
That's a sad state of affairs. But
Yeah.
You're right.
So now Bob can set up this second cascade with his brainstorm, and see what we got here. We have a Prismari command and a Wildfire Devils. So
And he's like, oh yeah, I got this nickel bolus.
Here we go. Bob could cascade into Wildfire Devils, Spike, and if he's lucky, hit Sky, and then Sky's Graveyard has the removal spell that will get rid of all those tokens.
Oh, Legions to
Legion to Ash. That's what we're live for right now.
That is the next leveliest play possible. Now, whether Bob is able to put that together under extreme duress with cards he may have not played with before is another question. And we'll see what was put down, and then we're going to have – it is going to be Wildfire Devils.
Yep, here we are. Okay, so Wildfire Devils is a very powerful card that a player is chosen at random. Yes, and then that player exiles a card from the graveyard, which Sky will get to choose the card.
Sky will not choose Legion to Ashes.
Probably not.
I'm going to tell you right now.
You can tell me. So
I feel pretty
even means one play. Oh, Bob means himself, so he gets to cast an instant or sorcery from his graveyard for free.
This is a Kadama's Reach.
Well, Maelstrom Pulse. How about Maelstrom Pulse?
Maelstrom Pulse is very, very, very good.
How about Maelstrom Pulse? That's kind of like the original Legions to Ashes.
It is the OG.
Yep.
And Sky's like, let me double check here.
C19 Wildfire Devils.
Yeah.
Worked on that one.
It's a powerful card.
Yep. 4-2 for 4. The perfect stat. Okay. So the invading army from the phased out plane is gone. And now
this is going to end the game. Sky can gain 4 life off of that Maze Mind Tome, but we have. Do we have enough? So we have 5, 7, 12, 17.
17
That's
exactly.
that magic number. And Bob Marr is going to take it in round 2. Sky has to. Dejected really.
That was like, I've got 10 2/2s and some other creatures and stuff. You have nothing whatsoever. What's the worst that can happen? Maelstrom Wanderer into Wildfire Devils with another threat into Maelstrom Pulse
Too
from
much
my graveyard.
That was the problem.
It was a double Maelstrom play.
Double Maelstrom.
Yeah. Any card with the word Maelstrom in it, Awaken the Maelstrom, Maelstrom Pulse, Maelstrom Archangel, they're all good cards. Maelstrom Nexus,
Heyo.
Maelstrom Confluence, is that one?
No, stop while you're ahead.
What's the land that does it?
Mystic Confluence?
Anyway, Bob Marr defeated Sky Warfield in 3 with a really exciting match. And I believe Bob did what you would consider living the dream there.
Yeah, well, everyone lived the dream. It's just that it's weird because it's like, well, Sky definitely lived their dream.
Yes.
Right? They doubled their tokens, made 10 of them.
Right.
Unfortunately, Bob lived his dream a turn later.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like the person that lives their dream last
wins.
Often wins.
Yeah, but you have to survive long enough to be able to live that dream.
And had to, just had to have a lot of things go right, but they did. Man, and had to win the die roll.
That's the dream. That's the most dream you want to live of every match you play is winning the die roll.
That is, it's impressive. Well, we know that Bob is going to be moving on to the finals of our Cheese Standalone, going after that charcuterie board that will no doubt go on his mantle next to his Pro Tour trophies and
his ring,
Hall of Fame ring.
Hall of Fame ring,
right?
His original art, the original Dark Confident art he has.
This is basically on the same category. Of that.
His dad has one of the Hymn to Turok arts, the one with the wolves. He has that up there. Yeah, there's a lot going on.
Is that Susan Van Camp?
Yes. Wow. Him to Turok fan.
I'm a Liz Danforth man myself.
Yeah, that's the thing about opinions, that they can be incorrect.
Ooh, we got to move on.
We got to move on. Yeah, so anyway, cheese is pretty good. So we've got one more round to go in the Cheese Standalone tournament here at CUBECon.
Yeah.
The players we're playing for.
We do. Yeah, we don't know who the finalist is. You know what? I'm actually going to try to find out. Hey, Michael, who's the other finalists in the Cheese Standalone? We're going to try to find out. We're going to try to find out what matchup we have. We know that Reed was playing in round 2, playing against Jarvis Yu, and Jarvis told me before the event that he owes Reed one. I don't exactly know what
the context of this.
I didn't ask the context, but I wanted to know. Reed one, cool. So we're gonna have Hall of Famer Reed Duke versus Hall of Famer Bob Marr here at CUBECon, playing for an outrageous amount of cheese.
Cheese, yeah, really the most intense and high stakes match I'm sure they've ever been involved in.
I mean, cheese.
Cheese.
You can't. None of the other things they've won, they can eat. Okay. At the end of the day, you need anything if you're brave enough. I get it. At the end of the day, the other things they've won are not safely edible, and they're playing for something that is, and also delicious.
Yeah. So come to CUBECon, play for some cheese, lose to a Hall of Famer. It's just like
this is the quintessential experience.
It's quintessential experience. I've lost a few Hall of Famers before. It's pretty easy to do.
Well, yeah, I've lost to Reed before. I've never had a chance to play Bob. All right, but thank you all so much for joining us. We're going to take a quick break, but when we come back, we have round 3, the last round of the Cheese Stands Alone event, and that's going to be coming to you in just a few minutes. Justin Parnell, Dave McDarby, don't go anywhere. CUBECon 2023. We are back so soon.
Quick.
We could not stay away.
We missed Cube so much. We're just like, can we just watch some more Cube?
Again. Let's go again.
Watch some more Cube.
And you know what we're ready to see is we're ready to see 2 Hall of Famers play for cheese.
For cheese. Yeah, we're in the final round of the Cheese Standalone tournament here at CUBECon. We're running the Live the Dream Cube, a cube that I made along with the help of David White long ago, and I'm so honored and lucky to have it here featured in this very high-stakes, cheese-oriented tournament.
Right.
I'm really excited for some good cheese craft singles.
This is the highest stakes cheese-based Magic tournament in history.
I believe that to be true.
And you have been a part of it.
Yeah, I mean, that charcuterie board with all the cheese, I wish I could be playing this tournament.
I actually do too. Like, non-ironically, we're making a bunch of jokes about it. We'll have it when it's done. We're going to pull the winner into the booth between 2 Hall of Famers, Reed Duke and Bob Marr, and we'll show off the board. It is legitimately really awesome.
Yeah, no, I love a good board state, and I can't wait to see that board with cheese all on it.
Well, let's go to the actual board state because our players are ready down in the feature match area, and this is what they're playing for.
They're
playing for cheese.
There's the big cheeses.
They're playing for cheese, and it's all seriousness, okay?
So that equates 1 food token. Every time you crack a food token, you're eating that amount of cheese.
That's okay. So
that's
goal,
3 life right there.
Can you give Oko's not in the cube, right?
Correct.
Okay. So you can't make a food token, give it to your opponent, and then put it in a position where they have to constantly eat food tokens because that would be a way to win.
That's a nightmare. That's not a dream.
It's a dream for somebody.
Yeah, that's the Matilda nightmare, eating the chocolate cake, but it's cheese instead of chocolate cake.
Look, that's not what Charlie Kelly thinks, okay? There's no how much cheese is too much cheese? There's no amount.
There's no answer. The limit does not exist.
Right.
So it looks like Reed is mulliganing, which, when you have 10 drops in your hand, in your deck, and basic lands, you need to bridge that gap somehow. So this Cultivator, there's some cards in Reed's hand that add additional mana, but he's keeping the removal spell, along with 4 basic lands,
This is a mold of 5.
Mold of 5.
This is a mold of 5. We have Unexpectedly Absent, at least a forest. But you know what? If there's anyone that can dig out of this,
I trust it's Reed Duke.
I think it might be Reed Duke. We have a plains and island on the battlefield with a forest in hand, but Bob's going to come in hot on turn 2 with a maybe, not a Growth Spiral, but a Lotus Cobra.
I mean, Lotus Cobra can add more mana. You can play a Prismatic Vista, boom, 5 mana. Jason Minor Sculptor, Spell Pierce.
Amazing.
So Reed Duke did draw
Restoration
of Viganjo.
Man, this is a powerful mold to 5.
Same bad.
No, it's about as good as it gets, honestly.
Yep. So that lets Reed discard a plains or discard a card next turn and bring it back to the battlefield. You'll probably choose a land. Maybe that plains that Reed searched up.
I would say that's a good chance that's what I'm going to do.
Yeah. You can also play that plains untapped by just playing it for your land for the turn. That way you keep up Unexpectedly Absent, able to recast as a removal spell, and then bring back some other land that Reed discarded to. So not only does Restoration of Ganju is a ramp spell, but also is a threat. It eventually starts pumping out tokens, start attacking. And speaking of attacking, Lotus Cobra is coming in for 2, as it is wont to do.
And we're going to see a Vizier being cycled.
Cycled on turn 2.
Which is gonna get Bob a little bit deeper into his deck by 1 card, but untap a land whenever you untap a permanent whenever you cycle something. But it looks like we have a passing of the turn. And let me tell you, if you've mulled to 5, one of the things you really would like to see is your opponent playing a ramp deck fail to ramp.
Yep.
And not just fail to ramp, fail to even play a 3rd land on their turn.
Yeah, so the ramp spell Bob has is Lotus Cobra, which you need lands to play. Meanwhile, Reduke plays a green creature of his own that is kind of like a Lotus Cobra, but the land comes into play, and you'll get the land every turn, and it's any forest.
The thing that I love about this is Reed played the Doric upside down because he's like, you've never read this card. Here, I'm gonna let you read it.
Yeah, here's Sophia.
Yeah.
Here, take a good look.
Yeah,
She's a
take a look.
tiefling. Can wild shape many times in one day. Have you seen the movie?
I have.
It's a good one.
Very good, yeah.
Yeah.
I hope a second one gets made. It was a lot of fun.
I hope so too.
Exceeded my expectations
Yeah.
greatly.
Unfortunately, Bob Maher's draw has not been exceeding his, and he passes the turn yet again, sadly, with just the 2 lands in play.
So I do have a question related while Reed is going through his turn. There's not a Jornathan card,
Jonathan?
and I think that there should be.
Well, he was talked about a lot in the movie.
He showed up at the end.
Yeah, the practical effects of that character were amazing. If you ever watched the behind the scenes, just the actor walking around, and yeah, Jonathan. I don't think even Jonathan could explain this match of like how Reed is hitting all these spells when he mulled 4 basic lands and an unexpectedly absent, which he still hasn't cast. Reed could have put that Lotus Cobra on top and deny Bob another draw step of a spell.
And I think that could be coming, but Reed is content to ramp more with Felwar Stone and then probably play, we'll put a Lutri in the hand. So that's going to cause some. Oh, we know what that is now. Bob does not know, but look at the face he's making. He might know. He actually might know.
I think he knows.
So we have likely an Alrund's Epiphany.
There are only there's only
definitely knows.
1 foretold card in the cube.
Yeah.
So it is not a secret.
It has been foretold.
It has been foretold.
Yeah, and Reed's walking through saying, "Here's how I used all of my mana. I attacked you. I did all this stuff." Bob quickly running out of time.
Yep. This needs to be a good one.
It has accelerated. He took the long draw, reached back, looked at it, and says, "You know what? I know what that is." And Reed's gonna show him. Bob's like, "Yeah, I know, buddy."
That draw step took the scenic route to get to the destination and was like, "You know what? Now that we're here, let's just take a minute and rest and just do something else for a while." So anytime you're playing a game of Magic, whether it's on the Pro Tour against a Hall of Famer, or perhaps it's a CubeCon against a Hall of Famer, and you mull to 5, don't give up.
Right.
Don't give up. Maybe your hand is 4 basic lands and a removal spell. Maybe you end up never even casting that removal spell.
No, didn't need to,
and just winning the game.
Right.
Handedly.
Yeah, if something that's also easy, much like that game is for Reed, is how easy it is to sell your Magic cards, because one of our sponsors is Card Conduit.
Yes.
And they are the best way to sell your Magic cards. You can ship them your unsorted Magic cards, and Card Conduit will sort and grade them and find the best buy list price in their major retailer network. You're getting paid the total sum, and Card Conduit only takes a small fee for getting you the best prices for your cards. Go to cardconduit.com to get started.
Card Conduit.
Now, all of our sponsors, thank you for all having a bunch of C's in your name, including CubeCon.
C's are in.
But Card Conduit, that's the best way to get your cards. So we want to thank them as a sponsor and definitely check them out. And I would bet that, sometimes I've bought and sold cards myself in a previous life.
Oh, interesting.
And, as you might know, sometimes people if they get beaten down, they're like, I want to get rid of this deck. But you don't really do that with a cube because, you're not selling your cube.
Yeah, well, you
don't own the cards.
Cubes mean a lot of feelings, a lot of people put a lot of their essence and their experience and their stories into cubes. A dredge deck, meanwhile, just take this dredge deck.
Right.
It's not a cube, is it? It's a dredge deck.
Right.
So
you're playing a different game anyway.
Yeah,
they're Magic cards legally.
Sure. Like as the kids say, check your bulk. Card Conduit will check your bulk for you.
They sure will. Players that don't have any bulk are Bob Maher and Reed Duke.
No.
Only powerful, gigantic, incredibly swingy spells. We didn't see many of them out of Bob, but we did see Bob's deck last round, so we know that there are a lot of very dangerous things lurking. And I think that game would have been very different had Bob had a third land, just
Yeah.
a third land.
I'm going to guess he had either a Cultivator or Kodama's Reach. So once he hit that one land, he could go off to the races. Maybe Kodama's Reach into a land with Lotus Cobra Trigger, blah, 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 so on and so forth. But just didn't happen this game. But the good thing about CubeCon is you play best of 3.
That's right. So we got
traditional.
We have at least one more coming up, potentially 2 more. Yeah, I got to be honest.
I hope it's 2.
I would keep me too. Me too.
We're not rooting for people. We're impartial here in the booth, but we like seeing games of Magic.
I'm rooting for more Magic.
I'm always rooting for more Magic.
Rooting for more Cube.
Yeah, more Cube. More Cube.
More Cube.
There are 49 other featured cubes here. So here
we got Cube all weekend, but this is the first one.
I can't wait. We cubed last night, you and I.
We did.
I hope we cube many more days.
I also hope to cube. That's one of the things about being here, being one of the organizers. It can be difficult to do the fun thing.
Well, you're
create
sacrificing.
the fun.
You're
for everybody
sacrificing
else.
so much to facilitate the fun, and we thank you for it. I'm sure everybody else does here.
Well, but Bob's starting off with a tap land. Looks like a
Death-capped
Blade.
Glade.
Nice. And then a Plains from Reed. And we do not see a 2-drop, no Lotus Cobra, but we do know that Bob is going to hit his 3rd land drop no matter what, and then probably his 4th based on what we got going on. Reed might be looking to get off to a quicker start, and we're going to see a Forest and then deploying.
Yep. So this is Scholar of New Horizons. It is basically a 1/1 with the +1/+1 counter on it, but you can remove a counter from a permanent you control to get a Plains.
And it comes with one.
Yeah, it comes with. You get a free one.
That's interesting. You always get one for free. That's how they get you hooked.
So would be a cool thing is maybe Reed had Restoration of a Gonjo in play, and then you just search a Plains. You just remove a counter, get a Plains.
My friend, is a combination.
That is a dream to live.
That is definite. That's a 2 and 3 mana dream to live. Those are
rare.
Those are some of the best.
Those are hard to come by.
Those are hard to come by. But you know what? Reed has assembled it.
Yeah, meanwhile, Bob has his head in his hand as he only has 3 lands, and they're all green and black producing.
What a miserable life.
Yeah.
Only 3 lands.
Only 3 lands. But we can't all be Reed Duke and start off with the strongest play in the game of Plains into Forest.
Okay, arguable.
Yeah. So Reed did find that land in the form of Zeator's Triumph, I think.
It looks like we might have a Binding of the Old Gods in Bob's hand, which could be deployed. Do you even want to deploy it? You might need to just find another land drop. And Reed is going to continue ramping with a Llanowar Visionary, which is going to draw a card and provide mana if Reed's able to untap with it. Bob's going to come down and probably play this Binding of the Old Gods to blow something up, probably the Visionary, and then do a little bit of ramping on his next turn.
Yep, so Binding the Old Gods, not Binding of the Old Gods, it's gotten me before. Not only is it removal, but it's also ramp. And like in the Live the Dream Cube, that's where you want to be. You want removal and ramp. That's the 2 R's.
So basically,
Read,
this
writing,
is
rhythm,
removal, ramp.
Ramp, yeah.
Yep, got it. Definitely not arithmetic with that one.
Not that one.
So this is. Are you saying this is the ideal card in the cube potentially?
You may not like it, but this is ideal Live the Dream cardboard.
This is what an ideal dream living looks like.
Yeah. So it looks like Reed is inspecting one of his cards. It has 2 sides, 2 faces. Off on the side, I believe that was Garrick Relentless. So he can just make sure he knows exactly what the other side of this card does.
I do love a Garrick Relentless.
Yeah, because Reed can make some wolves. He also has the option of fighting his own Scholar to transform the Garrick and maybe get a Whirly Tutor up next turn. And it looks like that's exactly what he's going to be doing.
And we're going to be flipping Garrick Relentless over into Garrick of the Veil Cursed on the backside, which is going to make 1/1 wolves, which are smaller than 2/2s, but they have Death Touch.
Yes. Oh, so here we're Reed activated his Scholar and removed the loyalty counter from Garrick, and Garrick has a static ability when it has 2 or fewer loyalty counters. Transform it.
My! We've unlocked a new dream.
Yeah,
A new dream has been unlocked, and then because Garrick wasn't activated,
you can activate Garrick and +1 make a Black Wolf with Death Touch.
My goodness!
I honestly did not expect this play to happen.
You put 2 Hall of Famers in your cube planning for a bunch of cheese, and you're going to see the best possible plays.
The real dream is you put a lot of ingredients in a vat and see what happens, and not even know what's going to happen. You get some Hall of Famers with those ingredients, and like magic happens.
Truly. That was, it took us a second. It took us a second to put that one together.
So if I was playing it, I just would have fought my Scholar and transformed. Instead, Reed Duke, the Hall of Famer, found the line that does something amazing.
This is, God, Reed might, Reed is hungry.
I hope he's not lactose intolerant.
I don't, he's not.
I hope nobody in the
I actually do know that he's
Okay.
not. I don't know for everyone, but I know Reed's gonna have some cheese. Bob's probably gonna get some cheese too, because again, not legally safe for someone to consume that amount of cheese.
Well, I mean, over a period of time, I'm sure it is. But during CubeCon, the best 4 to 5 days in cubing.
You don't want to put yourself out of commission on Thursday. Okay.
Ooh, yeah.
With too much cheese.
There's so much cubing to go. I just can't wait. Oh.
Bob taking his whole turn of resolving the second chapter of binding the old gods.
Very good.
Yeah, this is gonna be tough. To say that Bob's on the back foot after Reed has ramped twice with first his white card and then second with his white card that turned into a black card.
That's correct.
just to make sure that we're on the right track for that. Now, Reed's not putting a lot of pressure on, but the problem is, in round one, when Reed played against Zach, he had no pressure. And then he took 2 turns and made 5 creatures and then played an Elishnorn and then won in a single turn.
Yeah.
So things can go 0 to 100 real quick for Reed, and I think this might be the start of it. If we're seeing a 5-drop, it could be a Mirari's Wake, and it is. And we know that is danger, danger, danger Will Robinson for Bob, because if we see an untap with that, I mean, the game could simply end.
Yeah, so traditionally, the problem with ramp decks like Reed's, you need lands and ramp and threats. So, you've got the lands, the ramp, so you don't have the threats. However, because Reed had the heads-up play to transform Garrick the Relentless into Garrick the Veil Cursed, now that Garrick can get rid of these wolves or what have you and just look for any creature in Reed's library.
And that's exactly what's going to happen. We're going to see Reed's like, Scholar, I appreciate you for what you've done, but it's time for you to go.
And now Reed is making sure any creature?
Any creature.
What if they cost 10 and say Cascade 4 times?
That'd be devastating.
That'd be the apex of his curve, most likely.
Bob is fanning out his hand, raising his eyebrows, saying, "All right, this one might be quick." And we're gonna see Bob, I don't know, take a draw, give it a go.
Yeah, we're seeing this is the final rounds of Swiss, as it were, in this tournament.
Yeah,
and we're gonna see if Bob does have what it takes to probably make a Swiss cheese of his opponent, but it's not looking great. Not looking good.
It is not looking good. It's not looking good at all for Bob.
Maybe this is a Maelstrom Pulse, perhaps? I'm not sure.
Cultivate.
You know
what? You got to hope that maybe. So Apex Devastator doesn't have haste.
Correct. Maybe
Bob's got the haste one.
Yeah, maybe Apex Devastator hits 4 mana creatures or ramp or signets or what have you.
Felwar Stone, Signet. I mean,
it's a dream. That's a dream.
Yeah, there's a dream still to be lived if your opponent massively whiffs on their mini Cascade card.
Yeah. So Bob just has to deal with that and this Garrick.
All right,
Thief of Sanity.
Hey, I mean,
it's a 2/2 for 3.
Yeah, get it going. I mean, it's not just a Gray Ogre. It is on defense.
So, I mean, it's a Winddrake's got flying.
Most
common keyword in the game, my friend.
Is it?
Yes.
All right.
They can attack that Garrick next turn and put it to, and maybe even kill it.
I do not think that can attack next turn.
Well, we'll see what happens.
Well, yeah, I'm gonna throw that out on a limb and believe that is a blocking Thief of Sanity, and Sakura Tribe Elder is going to be sacrificed because Reed says, you know what's better than 12 mana, 14 mana.
Ooh, I can get behind that.
Yeah, well, what about 16? Because if Reed has a land,
16 mana?
We know there's an Apex Devastator, and we also know that Reed can get rid of that Death Touch Wolf to find whatever the second best creature in his deck is.
Well, maybe it's just like a 6-drop or a 4-drop.
Or maybe Reed plays a land, puts Lutri in his hand, just hangs out there, and just see what happened with Apex Devastator. Just see what happens.
Maybe like a Alrund's Epiphany gets flipped, and Lutri can just slide right in.
Slide on in there.
Slide into those Apex Devastator DMs and cast it again.
And we're at 16. And are we gonna see Lutri go to hand?
16.
Let me tell you, there's the thing that so we're tapping for 14.
14? All
right, we're at 11. Yeah, this is what's happening. Reed is setting it up. He is like, I have a very specific dream I want to live. It is cast Apex Devastator.
Into
It is
Time Stretcher.
into something that takes extra turns, and then I will absolutely take extra turns. Also, Reed has used multiple times dice to indicate the amount. Okay,
Yep.
this is
Reed,
what you need if you're Bob.
2 Cascades left.
Okay.
All right, the orb. Orb.
The orb.
Orb, 1 Cascade left.
Well, and here and Reed's like, I got some responses.
Tap this for RR, as you
And
do.
the cheese is standing alone, and the cheese in this case is Reed Duke going to finish it out with seeing the play we've seen before as he finishes out just about every round with copying an all runs epiphany off of a cascade. David, could you have drawn it up any better to represent what this cube is about?
Not really. No, this is exactly what you're signing up for with Live the Dream Cube. This cube's all about big splashy plays. Casting Apex Devastator, there are not many cubes that can have that card be in the environment because, the smaller spells. But in the Live the Dream Cube, you cast Time Walk, you cast Apex Devastator, you cast the Time Walk again with Lutri.
Incredible.
It's wonderful. And that is, that can be a commander type experience, but really it's just having fun and doing crazy plays like that Garrick with Scholar of New Horizons.
Yeah.
The Apex Devastator with the Lutri sliding in there.
I love that there was a play in this cube that you were like, I haven't seen that before. That's
wonderful.
awesome.
I love that.
That is what that's what cube is about.
Yeah.
Is you make everything and you're like, go nuts.
Yeah.
Do your best or do your worst.
Worst.
Yeah, whatever you want. We're gonna see if we can get Reed in the booth with that charcuterie board. So we're going to take a quick break. We're going to get Reed in here, and we'll be back in seriously just a minute. Do not go anywhere. We'll be back in just a moment.
It's like 2 minutes.
All right, Justin Partnell, Dave McGarvey here with our winner, the cheese that is standing alone, Reed Duke.
We do. Yeah. Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Nice work.
It's a great honor, gentlemen.
Yeah.
Honor to be here.
Have you ever won a more insane prize?
Look. There's this cheese here, kind of in the camera. Look at this. How do you feel?
I feel blessed. I feel great. This is awesome. I got the hat. I got the board. I got all this cheese. And it's only day one. It's day one of CUBECON.
It's all up from here.
Yeah.
I think we'll probably have to share this cheese with a lot of people. As I mentioned, it's not safe for a single person to eat this much.
Yeah.
So about your deck, we knew that your plan after we saw it in that game one against Zach, that we were like, okay, the plan is
Devastation.
we're gonna copy this orange 50 with this.
Yes. Yeah. So first of all, Lutri is just amazing card in basically, any cube format is singleton to begin with. So you just get this free value every single game you play. Not to mention setting up copying one of those game-winning sorceries is like a very realistic plan. So I was actually just a white-green deck, and then I opened Lutri, and I'm like, you know what? I'll find a way to make this work.
Life will find a way with Lutri.
And so that was great. And then the rest of the deck, my first pick of the whole draft was Mirari's Wake. That was why I wanted to go for
You
for
planted
white-green.
your flag in green-white.
Yes.
In the big cube, all about big splashy spells. You know what? This card that doubles my mana, you're in.
Yeah, and it's awesome too because, so there's the one element where it's like I'm building a cohesive deck where I want to get to 7, 8, 10 mana. Then there's the other element where it's like, hey, this is just a game of limited where like we both have creatures and we're attacking and blocking and we're doing stuff. And the +1/+1 is like really relevant, especially with some of the other green and white cards that are out there.
Especially with Orin's Epiphany.
Oh, those
that makes
birds.
a big difference.
Yeah, and I had like the big 7 mana Elish Norn, which also kind of cuts both ways, like
Yes.
pumps your tokens or is just a payoff for having tons of mana. I'm having a hard time with the hat, by the way.
It's all right.
between
We'll
my
take it off. We'll
hair
take it
and-
off.
I'm just gonna hold it. But
Yeah,
Hey,
it
all right.
suits you very well.
That's why, yeah.
Here as you stand alone. So, we noticed you played a lot of Magic before, and the heads-up play at the end with the Scholar of New Horizons with the Garrick. Did you plan for that to happen while you were making your deck? Or
So the Garrick, I actually didn't start it. I was like, I had a lot of good options at the 4 mana slot, so I decided with the Garrick, I'll wait if they have like Mana Dork, something where I can use the fight ability, then I'll bring it in. I had looked at the Scholar, and I think I had thought about using that with the Saga.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of cool stuff you can do with that card, and the Planeswalker. So getting to transform the Garrick like easy mode, that was really awesome. Yeah, that Scholar is a card that impressed me when I read it. I was pretty excited to have that.
And you had a lot. you were ramping both ways with both of the best combos in your card with the Saga, especially with like Restoration of Aganjo and then the Garrick. So yeah, that was something that we were trying to call in the booth, and we were trying to figure out what was going on. And then we're like,
Wait,
we
oh
removed
my
the
gosh.
counter.
Yeah. Oh, this is what's going on. That's
That's
amazing.
great. So yeah, very awesome. So amazing to watch. Your deck, everyone's deck was so much fun, but yours was very representative of this cube. So we're so happy that you are the cheese that's standing alone.
Yeah, thank you very much. I mean, I just the one sentence description of the cube of living the dream.
Yeah.
It was like Mirari's Wake. You know, this 10-mana
Yeah,
creature.
man.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was great fun. It was awesome.
Nice.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Props on a cool cube.
Awesome. Thank you. Yeah. Thank you so much for playing and showing me some new tricks and like doing awesome games on camera. Apex Devastator. Like, how often are you gonna cast that card?
Yeah, and I think I cast it 2 times and hit the time walk both times.
I
Yeah,
know.
yeah.
We were like, we know what's gonna
Yeah.
happen.
You got that loot. You were like, oh, that loot's gonna slide right in
yeah,
here.
I
Yeah.
did the math. I was like, he's gonna have 16 mana.
That was a real like overkill play, but I mean, it's all
Oh,
about
yeah.
living the dream.
Right,
Exactly. Yeah,
That's
you
what
got
we're
the
here
memo.
for. Well, we have a lot more dream to be lived at CubeCon 2023 this weekend. So for Dave McDarby, for Reed Duke, our winner, I'm Justin Parnell, and we will see you back in another event in just a few minutes.